Right in the middle of a school lesson, Kang Han-su and his classmates are suddenly transported to another world. They are summoned by a goddess to help save this world from the demon lord and his army of monsters. She promises superpowers for everyone and the chance to save thousands of innocent lives. And when they defeat the demon lord, she will send them all back home. Everyone except our hero accepts her terms, but Kang Han-su firmly states that he wants to go back home no matter what the goddess offers. Surprisingly, the goddess agrees to let him go and even asks the others if there are any weaker among them so she can send them all back together. Kang Han-su has no friends in his class, and no one wants to join him, so he rushes to go home alone. And that's when an unexpected twist awaits him. The portal leaves him in a completely unknown place, and things only get crazier from there as he sees some rabid humanoid beasts enslaving an elven woman, and now all their eyes are on him. Their malicious intentions are obvious from their behavior, and Han-su starts to panic, frozen in place. He knows he's completely screwed, so he does the only thing that makes sense in this insane situation. He runs like the devil as fast as he can, because if he doesn't, he's completely doomed. All the students are teleported to a sanctuary city, Progonia. The saint of the great temple welcomes the heroes who have arrived in the fantasy dimension. Several other gods are also present. She introduces herself and shares that she has been waiting for all of them. After receiving the oracle from the goddess, she educates the students about another god, Alcis, a master swordsman, and prince of the swordmaster's kingdom who will be their swordsmanship instructor. The girls are excited to see him, captivated by his handsome appearance. Suddenly, the saint asks the principal about the prince. The princess was about to speak, but at that moment, the princess arrives, exclaiming that she ended up falling asleep after drinking too much. The saint comments that the princess's honesty is both a virtue and a flaw, advising her not to mention the latter part. Suddenly, the princess faints. The heroes are surprised by this scene, some of them praising her for her beauty. Escena Archmason, the princess of the Archmason kingdom, is also introduced as the hero's magic instructor. The saint informs the heroes that Princess Atena, along with Prince Alcis, will assist them. At that moment, Hangu, who had opened the status window and shared the information with the others, states that they will experience similar situations as they level up and improve their skills. He is observing carefully and trying to understand his status window, which has received the hero's blessing that automatically translates languages. He perceives it. It's a skill similar to a trap, but he's worried because many competitors have received the same blessing. While watching, Choi Kang-min asks the saint why the goddess instructed them to receive God's blessings and how they would do it. She explains that to receive a blessing, one must earn a god's favor, since each god has their own set of criteria. Suddenly, everyone is notified that a god is examining the heroes' bodies with a wicked smile. Everyone is shocked by this. The saint explains that each god has their own standards, but each one is looking for the one who will defeat the great demon king. She also assures them that the gods are indeed watching them, but warns that their attention won't last forever. She wishes them the best of luck. One of the students asks if it's possible to receive any blessing. The saint smiles and dismisses the idea, saying she has no interest in dealing with trash. The students feel uncomfortable. Their adventure in the fantasy world full of hopes and dreams is about to begin. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kang is running for his life pursued by monsters. Kang is extremely exhausted, so he stops to catch his breath. Suddenly, the monsters shoot an arrow at him. They are closing in with the intention of devouring him. Kang concludes that there's no need to think too much. Creatures like these don't exist on Earth. He starts to believe that the goddess tricked him and never intended to send him back in the first place. He resumes running, telling himself that if this is a fantasy world, there should be some kind of miraculous event to save him. Just then, a status window suddenly appears in front of him. He is curious about why a hero is categorized under the curse category. He suspects this is a malicious attempt to get rid of him and is still incredulous about receiving such punishment. He notices the automatic translation feature and realizes he might be able to communicate with them. He shouts, asking them to discuss the situation. The monster starts screaming, surprised that the meat is talking. Kang mutters that he just wants to see his parents and pleads for mercy. Suddenly, an arrow hits him in the leg. He notices that numerous fairies are shooting arrows at the monsters. He believes there will be a battle between these fantasy creatures and seizes the opportunity to flee. Overwhelmed by pain, he swears he will never pray to the goddess again. Meanwhile, a god is watching him. Suddenly, he is notified that a specific god is looking at him. Kang decides that he would rather die than pray to God. Suddenly, a specific god approaches him, begging without understanding what's happening but pleading to be saved. He feels his body moving faster than his mind can process. Responding to an unknown voice, he is notified that the god is questioning why he is alone. Kang is about to give an answer but hesitates, realizing that he can't tell the truth. He wonders if this voice belongs to the goddess herself or perhaps one of her desperate allies. Pleads for salvation, overwhelmed by pain, and asks if any other god will intervene, receiving a notification that one particular god is skeptical. murmuring that it's unlikely any other god is present, adds that it's probably good that the others are absent. Kang, in pain, asks if the god is a stranger and the god is unfamiliar with the term stranger. Kang thinks he made a mistake in his word choice, realizing that in his language it means someone who is outside social circles. He fears that explaining it could invite a curse once again, instead saying that a stranger is like a wolf wandering through the desert. Then they inform him that this god likes this definition. Relieved, Kang asks to be saved once more. After a moment, the god asks if Kang is really a foreigner. Kang isn't, but lies, claiming that he too is a stranger, explaining that his classmates were summoned to the temple while he was left alone. The god seems confused by this explanation. Kang insists that it makes sense for a stranger to help another stranger, but now the god is suggesting this doesn't apply to him since he is a god. After a moment of reflection, the god decides to help the poor stranger, and using his power, the god magically removes the arrow from Kang's leg. Kang feels the intense pain completely disappear. His body also feels lighter. Grateful, he thanks the god, then notices his status window, now showing stranger alongside blessing. Curiously, it reads that something terrible will happen if the solitary wolf leaves the desert. He is confused by this message. Kang turns to the god and asks if by no longer being a stranger and becoming an insider, he will be judged. The god responds, emphasizing that they will only help a stranger. At that moment, the monsters begin to watch him as he runs away. Kang resumes his run for his life, feeling the message that he is exempt from all states except death. Thanks to the blessing of the gods, his fatigue disappears and he no longer feels tired. Meanwhile, the monsters are tiring out and can't keep chasing him. Suddenly, one of the monsters throws a stone at Kang, but misses, and he keeps running, silently thanking the god as he feels rejuvenated. Later, he receives another notification from the god assuring him that he won't die from a mere stone. Kang expresses his gratitude. Finally, Kang reaches the edge of a cliff, and as the message suggested, realizes that all states, except death, will be restored. He believes that as long as he isn't killed immediately, even critical wounds will heal. In a moment of uncertainty, he asks the god if he would survive a fall from the cliff. The god responds, informing him that the height will be fatal if he falls. Worry overtakes Kang while the monsters now close in. Cornered with the cliff in front of him and the monsters behind, Kang decides to make a move. He shouts at the monsters, offering them a proposal, telling them he knows they are hungry but there isn't enough food for everyone. Instead, he offers a deal. Whoever catches him first will get to enjoy his delicious meat. The monsters, excited by the idea of catching Kang first, rush towards him eagerly. Kang observes their fixation on his flesh and thinks to himself that even though he doesn't mind the attention, it's clear these creatures are obsessed. With a grin, he decides to fall off the cliff, dragging the monsters in his chase. After a while, he opens his eyes to discover he's not dead. His body feels like it's been crushed, but he thinks it might just be his imagination. He slowly gets up, surprised to still be alive. Suddenly, a notification appears, informing him that a particular god is impressed by the incredible survival skills of the outsider. Just as he processes this, one of the monsters approaches him with the intent to devour his flesh. Kang notices the status window of the creature, the Blue Moon Butcher, and deduces that his survival, despite lacking blessings, has made him an intriguing target in many fantasy RPG worlds where characters level up by gaining experience from defeating powerful enemies. Higher-level enemies offer more experience points, making them much more valuable to defeat. Kang picks up a nearby stone, using it to strike the monster and successfully kill it. Meanwhile, back with the students, the saint informs them that leveling up and receiving blessings are two key ways to become stronger. One can level up by gaining experience from defeating beings that have status windows or can gain blessings directly from the gods. Choi Kang-min, confident in his abilities, decides to pray to the gods, asking for a blessing to enhance his strength. Just as he does this, the saint interrupts, reminding the students that receiving a blessing doesn't mean the process is over. The gods will be constantly watching them, monitoring their actions. Yubor raises his hand with a confused expression and asks if this means the gods will watch them all day. Every day. The saint nods to confirm. Some students feel self-conscious thinking that the gods might be watching them, even in their most private moments, like while bathing or attending to personal matters. At this point, the saint clarifies, addressing their concerns and explains that the gods are not human beings. She asks them not to judge the gods based on human standards. Some gods, speaking through the status windows, assure Yubora that they have no interest in observing such mundane activities. Suddenly, Yan, the chosen one as known by many, is selected by the gods who make it clear they will grant better blessings to those they find interesting. Some gods express admiration for her actions, and as a result, she receives a blessing. She smiles with happiness. Although the students wonder what she will do with this new power, it becomes clear when the blessing manifests as charm, a power that makes her body emit a captivating fragrance constantly increasing. The chances of attracting the opposite sex, however, the saint intervenes quickly, instructing Yang to refrain from using the charm blessing immediately. Yang protests, admitting she doesn't know how to stop the effect. At that moment, a certain innocent goddess expresses her dissatisfaction with the impure nature of such a blessing. The saint, shaking her head, acknowledges it's already too late, as Yang will now face the consequences of her actions. The students are shocked to witness this turn of events. The saint then explains that while the gods can grant blessings, they also have the power to cast curses on heroes they deem undesirable. Yang, surprised, admits she didn't know about this possibility. The saint explains she was about to inform them of this detail. Crucial, as the punishment begins to take effect, Yang screams in pain. She apologizes, but the saint explains that once a hero has received a blessing or curse, it will stay with them until their death. Moreover, the effects will become more potent as their rank increases, and their level will never decrease once it has been raised. Jan, deeply concerned, expresses her worry about how painful the curse is at her current low rank. She fears that at higher levels, the pain could become unbearable or even fatal. A dinner approaches her, offering words of comfort and reassurance. She tells Jan not to give up, explaining that blessings can help counteract the effects of curses. As Yang levels up and strengthens her body and mind, the pain will gradually decrease. On the other hand, Kang is still in the jungle, reflecting on why his level hasn't increased despite killing several monsters. He suspects it may be due to a curse or because leveling up is inherently more difficult in this world. After a while, he contacts the god for any useful information. The god, with his usual distant attitude, simply instructs Kang to call him an outsider. Kang, somewhat frustrated by the lack of helpful guidance from the god, decides to comply and asks once more. The god gives a brief answer, saying yes. Kang feels that aside from the blessing, the god doesn't help much. Despite this, he decides to hold on to the blessing. Appreciating the only merit it provides, despite wandering in the jungle for hours, he realizes he doesn't feel thirst or hunger. Suddenly, without even feeling tired, Kang notices some monsters approaching his position and hides behind a tree, thinking that if he encounters a person here, it could mean trouble since this land might be overrun by monsters and devoid of any other humans at that moment. A particular god sends him a message informing him that a powerless outsider will die peacefully if cut. Kang wonders about the cryptic statement from the god but decides to remain cautious as the monsters, sensing the smell of blood, are disoriented and can't determine which direction to take. Yang, feeling more energetic and now equipped with a knife that once belonged to the Blue Moon Butcher, contemplates his next move. The blade is sharp, and he is ready to use it. Meanwhile, God offers him prayers of support, assuring him that he won't meet a premature death. Observing the nearby vines, Kang decides to cut them, and while he works, he feels the presence of the god watching over him with blurred eyes. He ties the knife securely in an improvised pocket before turning to the god and asks if he is familiar with centrifugal force. Using the vine, Kang ties a stone and begins to swing it, preparing to show the monsters the power of science. He swings it, and although he feels the force could pull him and make him fall, he stands firm. Every time the blessing activates, his legs stop trembling, and his breathing stabilizes. With renewed confidence, he throws the vine at the monsters, hitting them with the stone while he continues to improve his control over the outsider's blessing. Kang soon realizes he no longer needs to focus on little annoying things like cuts or fatigue while avoiding an immediate fatal blow. The blessing will heal him automatically. This understanding allows him to keep fighting on the edge of death without fear. One by one, he takes down the monsters. However, he begins to notice their cunning tactics. They are trying to wear him down by dragging him into prolonged battles. These monsters are more unpleasant and smarter than he initially thought. Still, he perseveres, hitting them relentlessly. At one point, a monster tries to grab him from behind, but Kang is prepared. He swings the stone and strikes hard, declaring that they will receive the same treatment as before. After a long battle, Kang finally stands victorious, having defeated all the monsters. He approaches the last one and demands to know where the humans reside. The creature grudgingly points in the direction of the human settlement. Then Kang asks about the monster's species, to which the gnoll responds that they are known as gnolls. Without hesitation, Kang kills the creature with a final blow from the stone, reflecting that if the monsters had been honest with him, he might have spared their lives, but he never promised such mercy. Meanwhile, in the temple, Prince Alsis informs the heroes that the official training will begin the next day, explaining that he will teach fencing. Meanwhile, Princess Athena will handle the magic training, adding that the heroes are free to choose the path they wish. Suddenly, Choi raises his hand and expresses his desire to enroll in both training sessions. Prince Alsis acknowledges this request but warns that both lessons are demanding and it may be too much for him to handle. He then questions the prince, asking if it would be acceptable for him to skip the lessons entirely. Prince Alsis assures him that he is free to make his own decisions. Hangu, seeking more freedom, asks if it would be possible for him to leave the temple during his free time. The prince confirms that he is welcome to do so. The next day, Prince Alsus gathers the heroes and directs those who wish to follow the path of a knight to follow him. He assures them that they can change their minds later if they find that the path doesn't suit them. For those interested in learning magic, he instructs them to wait since Princess Athena has not yet arrived. Meanwhile, the cake heroes check their status windows. Han-woo notices a special inscription before his blessing, indicating that he is the most chosen person in the world. This blessing, he realizes, is unique to him and can only be seen and experienced by him. Filled with joy, Han-woo reflects that Choi, despite his arrogance, still fails to realize the true meaning of his status. Later, outside the temple, Han-woo reflects on the situation and concludes that if someone like Choi Boy had put in his best effort, he would have at least obtained a rank that rivals the main character. After some time, Han-woo is in the Pearl City Square. He thinks he has come to the right place. He enters the Mercenary Guild to start his fantasy story. There are so many fighters there. The receptionist greets him and asks why he is there. He replies that he wants to register as a mercenary. Suddenly, a girl approaches him and explains to Han-woo that this is not the place for someone inexperienced like him. She asks him to stop saying such nonsense and to go back to his hometown. She says she has seen many impulsive boys like him become mercenaries and die. Meanwhile, Han-woo believes that this is the effect of his blessing, which is the main skill boost to the character. The girl approaches him and asks if he is listening. Han-woo thinks that this beautiful mercenary with a nosy disposition is a princess or a high-ranking noble in disguise. He smiles and thinks that this is the fate of the protagonist. There's no doubt that it's the effect of a special blessing. Suddenly, he asserts that he doesn't want to go back and that she should accompany him if she cares, continuing to say that judging books by their covers isn't a good habit. He's sure she's experienced it many times too. The girl smiles and responds that he understands her. Han-woo feels happy and thinks it's exceptional in this world. After that, he informs the girl that he can't tell her much about it, but he has been chosen, even though Han-woo struggled to talk so fluently with a beauty like her. In this world, he is a hero who will save the world he's about to leave. Suddenly, the girl wonders how those chosen skills accumulate. He replies that she'll realize what the main benefit of the character island. On the other hand, in the jungle, the monster assures Kang that he's not lying, that the village of humans is to the west. Kang thanks him for the information and then hits him with the stone. After that, he says these gnomes are unexpectedly honest. They're so blunt that anyone can tell when they're lying. Kang thinks he doesn't know the exact distance to the human village, but confirms by asking a group of gnomes to leave. No room for doubt. He also thinks that his desperate fight with the gnomes turned into a brief hunt. As he defeats more of them, he has gone from being prey to an experienced hunter overnight. He feels happy. Kang suffered many serious injuries while learning to hunt and quickly learned to fight. With the blessing of being an outsider, his clothes tore while fighting the monsters. He is excited as he doesn't go crazy, even after being seriously injured so many times. He will meet the natives of this fantasy world in the human village. The god murmurs and says he's sorry, asking if he wants him to die. Receiving the answer that the certain god doesn't care what happens to him. Suddenly, a monster attacks him again, but he defends himself with a butcher's knife. Kang is worried that there's no end to these gnolls. No matter how many he kills, they keep coming. He fights them and stabs them with the knife. Kang is now upset because he isn't leveling up at all. He thinks he must have killed dozens of nobles with higher levels than him, so it shouldn't be a problem. He receives the message that a specific god is getting restless after defeating the monsters. Once again, he can hear the language of a friendly race he can't understand. He starts to look around carefully. Considering they shot arrows at a poor person being chased by a carnivorous plant, their definition of friendship might differ from what he knows. Suddenly, he sees some swordsmen and a woman who are humans. He thinks they could be mercenaries. Suddenly, a woman throws a weapon at Kang. Seeing him, they all attack him. He then says he's just looking for a human village. He hides his dagger and sits down, signaling that he surrenders since he's against violence. Kang knows that nothing has changed. They can't talk to each other, but humans don't just communicate with words. Body language shows a tendency to avoid conflict, and a friendly voice doesn't make the other person nervous. He thinks they can't hold a complicated conversation this way, but this should be communicated. However, the woman is about to shoot an arrow at him. Kang stops her and assures her that the other world doesn't bite, and that he is kind to the other world. The mercenaries refrain from killing him after a while. Kang finds himself traveling with them through the dense forest. The lady and the man try to talk to him with serious expressions, but their words are foreign to Kang. He could use gestures to at least let them know what his name is, but apart from that, he can't understand a single word. It doesn't help that foreign languages were always the subject that brought his average down. Kang thinks it's a relief that he's met some friendly people. At least these folks don't start shooting arrows at him like the fairies do. And he doesn't have to worry so much about encountering monsters. He can't see the status windows of these guys, but he's sure that the fully armed mercenaries would be more powerful than someone at level 1. A god assures Kang that he's not acting like a stranger now, but Kang ignores him. One particular god pleads with him not to speak to them indifferently. He responds that it's normal to talk more casually when someone gets closer to you. Kang thinks he could meet people, but he can still only have conversations with the gods. However, he discovered what these people's names were thanks to the use of body language. This older, hairy man is Gary. He assumes that Gary is the leader of this group. He carries a giant sword without showing a hint of tiredness. Kang finds him very strong. Suddenly, another man calls him and hugs him. His name is Cole. Cole is smaller than Gary, but he has a muscular, experienced body and laughs. He often has a long sword at each hip. The lady's name is Misa. She is the group's ranged attacker and often uses a giant crossbow made of steel. By her size, Kang doesn't think her main goal is to fight people. She points her finger in some direction. Kang realizes she wants to show him something. He sees smoke in the distance. The smoke isn't from a forest fire. It should be chimney smoke coming from a house. Kang is happy to find the place where people live. Suddenly, he receives a notification that a particular god looks at the bold outsider with displeasure. Kang says he's just pretending to get along to escape this forest. Suddenly, everyone hears a noise. Many monsters are approaching. Kang is surprised to see the monsters. He's ready to fight them, but Cole, Gary, and Misa step forward to fight the monsters, battling the demons with their swords. Meanwhile, Misa aims her arrow at the gnolls. Suddenly, a gnoll comes to attack her, but Kang saves her from the gnoll. A particular god feels uneasy. The gnoll seems larger than usual. Kang explains to the outsider god to keep an eye on this. Since humans are social animals, he needs help from these people. The god responds that it's not his concern. Meanwhile, the gnoll is about to attack Kang, but he saves himself by moving at the speed of light, killing the gnoll with a knife. The gnoll falls to the ground. Kang knows they are behind him. After a while, they defeat all the gnolls. Kang thanks them and says he would have been in trouble if they hadn't been with him, but they all look at him with serious expressions. Suddenly, Misa shoots an arrow at Kang. Hitting him in the right shoulder, he falls. After that, the mercenaries gather around Kang's lifeless body. Cole expresses his admiration for Misa's ideas, saying that her plan has been interrupted because of the gnolls. However, Misa sees it as a positive turn of events. She comments that the chaotic behavior of the gnolls has given them an idea of how dangerous Kang really is. Kang admits that he had initially underestimated him, thinking that someone as thin as him would be weak. However, he not only fights better than he anticipated, but his strange foreign language also makes things more problematic. Ray suggests they should stick to their original plan. Cole agrees, although he laments the turn of events, adding that Kang probably wouldn't have been willing to be sold as a slave. Gary, always practical, proposes they take whatever they can from Kang, mentioning that grabbing his dagger is their best option. Since it might be worth more than they think, he points out that the intricate decoration on the dagger indicates it belongs to fairy royalty. Cole approaches Kang's body to retrieve the dagger, only to discover that Kang is still holding it tightly. Misa warns Cole not to lower his guard. Cole, realizing the danger, decides he must finish off Kang with his sword. However, before he can act, Cole notices Kang's status window. Two conditions must be met: for someone to see another's status window, or the individual must share it voluntarily, or it can be seen through a special blessing. Cole, surprised and shocked by the unexpected development, is caught off guard. Just as he's processing this, Kang strikes him with the dagger. Gary and Misa, astonished by the sudden turn of events, they watch as Cole collapses. Kang remains upright, seemingly unharmed. Gary, now furious, aims at Kang to eliminate him. But before he can act, Kang lunges forward with incredible speed and strikes him with the dagger. Misa, trying to take him down with her arrows, finds they have no effect. Kang, unbothered, pulls the arrows from his body with a smile. Misa, now desperate, pleads for her life, bowing before him in a sign of surrender. Kang murmurs something to her, even though Misa doesn't understand her words, and in an instant, she kills her. Afterwards, Kang changes clothes, feeling incredulous about what happened. He reflects on how uncomfortable it is to think about the deadly weapon she shot at him, sharing this thought with God, feeling it might have been appropriate, but the fact that it came from a woman made him uncomfortable. Meanwhile, God laughs at his discomfort. Indeed, God acknowledges that he respects the unusual preferences of the outsider, although Kang defends himself, clarifying that it wasn't a matter of preference. He explains that Misa was the only one with a similar build to his. He also decides to take his arrows with him, believing they might be useful later. Meanwhile, back at the temple, Princess Etena apologizes to her students for her tardiness, assuring them that she will now begin the lesson on the nature of magic. She informs them that a long time ago, magic did not exist in the fantasy continent, and the students begin to murmur among themselves, Some dismiss magic as nonsense, while others argue that it's purely practical, focused on real-world applications. A girl suggests that magic is simply chemistry. Yubo Ra, irritated by the distraction, scolds the others for bothering those who are trying to concentrate. Princess Atena, taking advantage of the moment, states that magic is largely about talent and that familiarizing oneself with mana is essential. She admits she shares a dislike for unnecessary theories, emphasizing that talent is the most important factor in mastering magic. The students, intrigued by her words, ask about the origins of magic. Princess Atena pauses and then explains that magic is a field where natural talent outweighs everything else. She continues, pointing out that talent is often determined by lineage. Although education and connections also play a role, she urges her students to never forget these truths. Princess Atena introduces herself as Atena Archmassing, the direct descendant of Xian Archmassing, the 12th disciple and third husband of the founder. She proudly declares that her lineage is significant as it carries both the bloodline and the connections that come with it. The curious heroes ask her what that means for them. In response, Princess Atena explains that they are all connected to her through their education, and that being her disciples will allow them to unlock their high potential. Yubo Ra, feeling insecure, raises her hand and asks if someone without any lineage or connections could ever become a mage. Itna assures her confidently that it is possible, but emphasizes that everyone starts with a strong advantage due to the connections they share with her. Excited, Itna walks toward Yubo Ra, her enthusiasm palpable. She says that although she will explain all the details later, for now, Yubo Ra must step forward. Taking her hand, she announces that from this moment on, Yubo Ra will be her apprentice. The room falls silent, and Yubo Ra looks visibly surprised. Atena adds that she recognizes Yubo Ra as her first apprentice. Changman and Cho Kangmin exchange surprised glances, shocked by this sudden turn of events. Princess Atena then instructs Yubo Ra to create a magical elf. Yubo Ra stands still for a moment, unsure of how to proceed. After a brief pause, Atena congratulates her, declaring that Yubo Ra is now a full-fledged mage. However, Yubo Ra seems puzzled and confused by the rapid changes unfolding around her. As realization begins to settle in, her status window updates. Confirming her new title, Atena, with a small smile, admits she forgot to mention something important. Those who become apprentices earlier in their training receive a greater transfer of talent. Yubo Ra, still processing, she notices that a C-rank blessing appeared with her learning. She expresses her observation, leading Atena to explain that the blessing she received was the same talent she mentioned before. With a thoughtful look, Yubo Ra reads the meaning of mage in her status window and hesitates, then expresses a concern to Etna, explaining that without a father or master who possesses the magical blessing, she doubts she can ever truly become one. A mage, no matter how hard she tries. Atena looks at her and then asks if she now understands why talent is so crucial. Yubo Ra, nodding and understanding, confirms that she does. Princess Atena, satisfied, she acknowledges her question and offers a demonstration. She lifts a small glowing magical orb in her hand, revealing that the founder who eventually ascended to become the god of magic left a blessing for future generations. This blessing was designed to help his descendants and students learn the ways of magic quickly. Atena explains that an average mage will depend on this blessing to use magic safely and efficiently. She calls this practice white magic. The students watch in awe as the display unfolds, clearly impressed by the princess's mastery. After this, Atena shows them another trick where her hands are on fire. The heroes are shocked to see this. She tells them that her talent is always needed for magic. She tells the heroes that in her right hand is white magic with her blessing, and in her left hand is black magic without her blessing. Suddenly, the head maid enters, pulling on Atena's cheeks and telling her that it seems she forgot the strict instructions from Her Majesty not to use black magic. Atena responds that she only did it to make it easier for the heroes to understand. The maid replies that she will report this to the queen. Atena apologizes. Suddenly, a prince also enters to heal Atena while she asks the maid not to tell the queen about this matter. On the other hand, Yubo Ra is scared and apologizes for asking such a question to Princess Atena. Suddenly, Atena is fine and tells the heroes that she is happy to know that everyone understands the danger of black magic. Some heroes ask about black magic and if it is an evil power. She replies that black magic is not bad. Unlike the blessing of magic passed down by its founder, black magic is like the magical power of nature. On the other hand, Kang Han-su arrives at the village. He asks the guard if he needs dry firewood to start a fire. The guard doesn't understand him, but Kang moves his hand forward and gives him some coins, saying that he understands what he is saying. He arrives at the village thinking that many armed people are running around everywhere, maybe because he is in a forest with carnivorous plants. After a while, he bathes and dries his body, saying that money is the best because it allows him to make friends with anyone. Even if he can't talk to them, he receives a message that the god feels uncomfortable. He replies that he is also uncomfortable. Since he is showering, he asks the god about gender and receives the answer that the god is now more uncomfortable. Kang says he will consider himself a man to protect his dignity. Suddenly, the god is worried. Kang asks why he is scared. The god replies that it's a secret and keeps it in his heart. Suddenly, Kang hears some voices coming from outside the room. He shouts that he is showering. So please wait a moment, someone from outside says they understand. Kang gets dressed, feeling the Kana-teen alert, and thinks that someone he can communicate with is outside the door. They can talk to each other. But the truth is that the person outside is not human, but a hostile race. Kang realizes that the person in front of him is not friendly, as he suspects the man could be a monster, or part of a hostile race like gnolls or demons. When the door opens, Kang sits on the bed hiding his daggers and invites the person to enter as the door opens. Kang is curious to see what kind of monster or person will appear. To his surprise, a human man enters. Kang asks what's going on, and the chief replies not to worry, explaining that he is the chief of the village he came to check. After receiving a report about a traveler speaking a different language, Kang observes the chief closely, noticing that he seems young for someone in his position. The chief, using his observation blessing, can see Kang's status window, which makes Kang feel a bit uncomfortable. The chief suggests that Kang try to hide his status window, but admits that it won't work with someone like him who has the observation blessing. Then the chief comments that he initially thought Kang could be a fairy infiltrating the village, but believes that Kang must be someone from a faraway land. He explains that the village has a complicated history, with fairies having lost their homes due to the greed of fairies. Eventually spilling into human territories, many people in the village lost their families because of this conflict. The chief, it reveals that the village is essentially a stronghold established by people who banded together for revenge. As a result, there are many mercenaries in the village, and most of the original complaints have faded over time. Meanwhile, God expresses his frustration with Kang's current situation. The chief explains that the village is full of inexperienced individuals, rookies who came to gain battle experience. As the chief prepares to leave, he asks Kang one last question. He shows Kang a potion and tells him that since he died earlier, it should have had an effect. Due to being mixed with a paralyzing potion, however, the potion seems to have no effect. Kang, now suspicious, pulls out a dagger in response. The chief, impressed, explains that the potion had no effect because Kang, like the fairies, has a high resistance to potions. He reveals that the potion is a spell designed for situations like this and explains that this resistance to potions cannot be broken even by something like the invisible thread he possesses. When the chief takes the dagger from Kang, Kang is taken aback. The chief says that Kang's situation is unfortunate, but it's not his fault. God warns Kang that they are trying to warn him. Kang's unease grows as the chief's intentions become clearer. Later, Kang finds himself imprisoned. The chief tells him that while the villagers are angry with the gnolls, believing they are responsible for the loss of their families, the truth is that the gnolls are also victims. The real culprits, according to the chief, are the fairies, who pitted the two sides against each other by taking the land from the gnolls. The chief reveals his own curse, calling it the karma of the one who carries the truth. His name is Crimson, and he is at level 16. He bears the fairies' curse, which means he is the sworn enemy of the fairies, and as a result, his life and youth have been shortened. Confused, Kang asks if the goddess gives such curses. The chief replies that this curse is the result of the accumulated grudges of the fairies he has killed, comparing it to an honorable scar. Kang realizes that each curse has its own unique condition, and this is a direct consequence of the chief's actions. When Kang denies being a fairy or having any particular disdain for them, the chief becomes more aggressive, placing the dagger against Kang's head. He tells Kang that he changed his mind after seeing his dagger and asks where he got it. Kang simply lies and claims that he killed a fairy who shot an arrow at him. He also tells the chief that they might have a common enemy, the fairies. Crimson seems impressed, commenting that Kang's skills are remarkable if he really killed a true fairy. However, Kang is unaware that the fairy he killed had royal status. Crimson smiles and says that despite Kang's apparent ignorance, he is in quite a precarious situation. Kang begs the chief to spare his life, but Crimson tells him it's a pity, since Kang saw his status window revealing that he is a wizard without magical blessing, a lone wolf running through nature. Crimson cryptically adds that Kang will never be able to run through nature again. God, meanwhile, prays for Kang's luck in the afterlife. Crimson, demonstrating his own dark magic, causes a lady to fall to the ground, placing his foot on her body and stating that he is a dark wizard who must sacrifice others to prolong his life. Smiles and explains that although the fairy curse may consume him, he can still fight it using sacrifices to extend his life. Simpson tells Kang that he will sacrifice him painlessly as a reward for caring about the fairy royalty. Kang, keeping his composure, smiles and sarcastically responds that the boss is very generous. Despite his apparent bad intentions, Kang thinks he could be expelled by a god with a rotten personality. But this isn't the worst part. He can still keep talking. He calls the boss Crimson and asks if he wants to plead for his life. Kang responds that he won't do it, Crimson urges him to continue, expressing his desire to hear his last words. Meanwhile, something irritates him, and he quickly kills them with his rope. Kang, but remains terrified and silent after that. Crimson asks what he wishes to say. Instead, Kang reflects that the boss's actions seem abnormal, or maybe he is showing all of this on purpose, aiming to be recognized as someone on the side of justice. Kang confesses that it has been a tough journey with no one acknowledging his efforts. Crimson smiles and recognizes him. He seems to understand. Kang responds that it's because he is a foreigner. Crimson responds affirming that being an outsider means being a wolf, lone wandering through nature. Ken realizes that Crimson is also an outsider. Meanwhile, the god murmurs that Crimson is definitely not a stranger. Kang also disagrees but believes he has managed to empathize with him. Crimson smiles again and confesses that he likes Kang, declaring that as an outsider, he must remain a lone wolf. Kang reflects on his strange logic, thinking that initially, Crimson expresses he likes him for the common good, but now wants to kill him to preserve his status as an outsider. Kang feels angry. Crimson tells him that this is a happy day since he finally meets someone who understands his great mission. Kang thinks he has gotten into the worst possible situation. He is scared. After that, some people hang themselves with a chain. Crimson watches them, approaches the boy, and tells him that he should come with him, since he has been in bad shape lately. The boy says something to him in another language. He responds that his friend needs to keep living and entertain him, so he won't kill her. After that, he knocks him down. The boy falls into the formation made by Crimson, begins his dark magic, and calls for his mother for life. He asks her to allow him to take the remaining life of this fairy. The magic circle starts to glow. The boy, in the process, is visibly terrified. Crimson assures him that if he hands it over, he will reunite him with his partner very soon. He grabs him by the hair, warning him that he has witnessed the consequences of rejecting his mercy. Meanwhile, Kang reflects on what is happening to the boss. He speculates that the boss becomes younger by absorbing the life force of the fairy. After a brief pause, Crimson declares that his spell is a success. Kang responds by saying he doesn't look any younger. Crimson explains that it's because he is not human, admitting that he doesn't sacrifice fairies to prolong his life and that he doesn't know how many fairies and travelers he has killed. Kang comments that it's to the point where the fairy's curse is tragic. Crimson removes his clothing, revealing something to Kang. Kang is now intrigued by what he is doing, but he is shocked to see that Crimson is a gnoll. Crimson openly identifies himself as a gnoll. Kang, filled with fear, wonders if Crimson could be of mixed race. Crimson boasts about the remarkable combination of two races that harbor a deep resentment towards fairies, smiling, saying that he will soon take his revenge using his human intelligence and gnoll physique. Crimson claims that his dark magic is supreme. Kang questions him, asking how he seeks revenge by hunting fairies with the power of fairies. Crimson approaches him and tells him not to worry about trivial matters, then proceeds to teach Kang about outcasts and reveals his true identity. He grabs Kang, asserting that he will forget him and make the most of his life. Kang, trying to understand, responds sarcastically that Crimson has been such a help to him. Kang then asks if Crimson still wants to kill him. Crimson coldly replies that it's because Kang is an outcast. Kang feels a surge of anger and realizes that today he has learned that there exists a truly dangerous outcast. He believes this moment is his destined turning point. On the other side, in the temple, Princess Itena, an archmage recognized as the genius of the magical realm, admires the workers. Despite her royal status, which consumes much of her time, she doesn't need to exert herself due to her immense talent. Meanwhile, Yubora asks if magic is created through imagination and suggests they could increase efficiency if there are no other methods. Despite hearing that a mage's abilities are determined by their lineage and school connections, Yobora's dedication to hard work catches Princess Atena's attention, resulting in her deciding to make Yobora her first apprentice. Princess Itena praises her question and explains that to improve her magic, she must follow the magic of her masters or parents. Then she demonstrates some magic with mice, surprising the heroes. Princess Atena thinks that thanks to the talent inherited from their ancestors, the members of the Archmassing royal family are capable of using exceptional fire magic generation after generation. Then she shows them an ice rabbit, her unique magic, and asks if anyone wants to try it. Everyone eagerly accepts, and Yubora steps forward. However, the magic doesn't work well for her, and the Princess Atena explains that it's because Yubora is still getting used to it. She reassures her, saying that with more experience, Yubora will be able to perform the magic easily. Yubora thanks her for the explanation. Suddenly, Yang Mion speaks up and asks Princess Atena if anyone will want her since she doesn't receive a blessing. The other students start shouting that they need a blessing and complain that Princess Atena is being unfair, treating them all the same. After thinking for a moment, Princess Itena asks which hero wants to be her second apprentice. All the heroes shout in unison that they want to be her second apprentice. The now anxious students begin to plead for her attention. However, with a single phrase from the princess, the alliance collapses as the students start fighting among themselves. Princess Aitena then tells them to inform her who wants to be her second apprentice. Yubora asks if this is done intentionally, but Princess Aitena appears confused by the question. Subsequently, Princess Aitena concludes the lesson, telling them that unique magic, like her ice rabbit, can only be obtained after countless trials, errors, and practice. Yubora then intervenes, comparing it to black magic. Princess Aitena, surprised by the comparison, tries to explain that black magic differs from white magic. Yubora asks if it's impossible to practice black magic continuously, and Princess Aitena, with a worried expression, explains that black magic requires sacrifices every time it is used. Meanwhile, Kang is at the center of a magic formation created by Crimson, deeply worried about why he has been captured by this man. Insane Crimson, sensing Kang's hesitation, demands that he declare that he will give up his life. Kang realizes that the consent for the sacrifice is essential for black magic, and despite being physically restrained, he knows he doesn't belong to Crimson. Crimson tells him that their conversation is over and that Kang must declare now that he will give up his life. Kang, fearful for his life, thinks of an escape and asks to see Misa one last time before dying. Crimson asks why he seeks her, and Kang replies that she is his lover. Crimson skeptically reminds him that Cole is Misa's lover. Responding honestly, he admits that Cole is his ex-boyfriend. Crimson demands proof that Kang is truly his lover. Without hesitation, Kang suggests that Crimson smell him. After smelling him, Crimson acknowledges that the scent is unmistakably Misa's. Confirming they must have been lovers, Crimson thinks that if Misa disappears, both Gary and Cole will become suspects, and begins to plot against Kang internally. Relieved, he is impressed by how incredibly cunning Crimson Island. Then Crimson asks if Kang has any other desires. Seizing the opportunity, he asks to be released until he can reunite with Misa, and then promises to declare that he will surrender. Crimson accepts the deal, and the ghoul laughs menacingly. Suddenly, Kang feels an overwhelming dark energy as his body writhes in pain, and he realizes that Crimson's words about not making him suffer were a lie. Crimson says goodbye to him, stating he will tell Misa that Kang has gone too far. Kang, remembering that Misa was the one who left first, responds that it will be difficult for Crimson to explain it. Crimson is surprised, and at that moment, Kang steps forward and punches him directly in the face. Crimson boils with rage, accusing Kang of having deceived him. Kang, still defiant, responds that he believes it was Crimson who deceived him, having promised a painless death but instead delivering excruciating pain. Almost driving him insane, he warns that such torment can turn a close ally into a sworn enemy. Crimson is stunned by Kang's resilience. With a cunning smile, Kang promises to tell Crimson everything when he's dead, as the magical restriction lifts. The god resets Kang's life, and the magical formation dissolves. Crimson, now furious, growls in frustration. Unyielding, he reminds Crimson of the deal. If he survived, they had to set him free, and Kang expects Crimson to honor that promise. With determination, he grabs a dagger and demands that Crimson fulfill his part of the deal. He then cuts the chain of one of the captive girls, freeing her. The weakened girl is surprised, but Kang supports her and begins to tremble. Crimson stops him, reminding Kang of his previous warning. Knowing that Crimson hadn't harmed him before, he reasons that finding someone who was already dead was a futile effort. In a fit of rage, Crimson declares that as long as Kang releases the lifespan granted to him, the promise no longer holds. Crimson unleashes his demonic energy and uses magic to grab Kang's legs. Kang, a bit worried, prepares himself. Crimson expresses his disappointment, telling Kang that it would be wise to give up on his hope for a painless death. Kang, however, smiles unfazed and responds that it's too soon to give up. Crimson mocks Kang's confidence, but then, without warning, blood spills from Crimson's mouth. The boss's strength begins to wane. Kang notices the change, realizing that since he struck Crimson with dark magic, the boss's powers have been weakening. Crimson, now desperate, demands to know who Kang really Island Kang, with a challenging smile, responds that he is an apostle of an outsider. As Crimson approaches death, Kang feels a surge of anticipation. He sees this as his opportunity to gain experience points by finishing off the level 16 boss. He plans to escape once and for all. He says goodbye to Crimson, but the gnoll now manifesting in Crimson's body curses Kang, vowing revenge for destroying his dream. Crimson charges at Kang in a final attempt to kill him, slashing Kang's chest with his sharp, fragile claws. Crimson scoffs, claiming that this power is not swordsmanship but a special ability he has kept hidden to hunt fairies. Despite the injury, Kang calmly declares that it is unfortunate but not fatal, to the gnoll's surprise. Kang's wounds heal quickly. Unfazed, Kang explains that this was a close call. Crimson, now weakened and drained of his strength, tries to flee. However, the girl grabs his foot, stopping him. Crimson growls at her to let him go, but before he can escape, Kang appears. He swiftly decapitates Crimson, Although Kang knows this victory is not final, there is still another authority to face. Kang, having dealt the final blow to the gnoll within Crimson, watches as the gnoll dies, screaming in pain. Kang remains unyielding. Dakin, an unseen observer, expresses his sorrow for Crimson's fate. With Crimson's last tyranny now crushed, Kang frees the many fairies the boss had captured. Calling the villagers to help with the situation almost resolved, Kang withdraws from the area. A month later, Kang finds himself wandering through the jungle again. Without warning, fairies attack him, forcing him to leap from a cliff. To escape, on the other side, there's a childish fight in the temple over the tutoring issue, but magicians aspiring to become masters arrive in droves. The situation resolves quickly, as countless magicians pursue the honorable title of the hero's master. Princess Athena tells the heroes that magic needs to be visualized in their minds, so concentration is important. The heroes are practicing magic while creating a fireball. Suddenly, a student asks Princess Athena about the mathematics of magic. She replies that there are no such rules in magic where mathematics applies. After a while, the student asks the hero if he uses addition or subtraction when creating that fireball. She tells him he can use magic because he has a master who can create fire. He responds that he doesn't believe it, such rules in magic where mathematics applies. After some time, the student asks the hero whether he uses addition or subtraction to create that fireball. She tells him he can use magic because he has a master who can create fire. He responds that he doesn't believe it, because he is sure he could quickly become an archmage with modern knowledge. Suddenly, the masters arrive. One master tells Princess Athena that she misdescribes something to the heroes. He tells them that it is true that mathematics applies to magic. The heroes are surprised. The master explains that since Princess Athena used a fireball as an example, he will continue with a related explanation. He says that the princess, who has only learned the theory, might not know this, but they have been implementing math to increase the efficiency of magic. Meanwhile, another magic master arrives and shows them a magic ball in the air. The other master tells them they must avoid wasting mental energy unnecessarily in a war. He says that when they cast the fireball, the angle is critical. He tells them they also need to consider the direction and speed of the wind. Suddenly, an explosion occurs in the air. The boy is happy because he gets his answer from the masters. After that, the master tells them that battle magic practice will also help the princess. The princess is eager to express her interest in learning it. After a while, the heroes are with the other wizards. Meanwhile, practical magic is being taught by exceptional wizards. In the field, with the guidance of excellent masters, the heroes quickly learn magic. Suddenly, a storm occurs. There are fairies sitting in a room. One is injured, and another is applying medicine to her hand. The injured fairy is Espresso, the princess fairy. Her companion apologizes, saying that the only thing she can do for her is relieve the pain with medicine. On the other hand, a miracle from a saint could make her recover. But there's no way that either of the two only saints in the world would offer a miracle to a mere fairy who isn't even something special like royalty. Her companion prepares to leave and tells her they will capture that human, so she should rest easy. Espresso thinks this could be the work of the Crimson Boss, but the villagers who just stood by could also be accomplices. She cries and thinks that when she returns to the kingdom, she needs to report about this village first. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door. Another fairy is standing outside the room. Espresso tells her to come in. She enters and tells her that the village mercenaries lost him. Espresso is a bit angry and tells her not to worry about the human problem. She replies that the man saved her from the evil boss. They're talking about Kang Han-su. She gets furious and tells her that he has a princess dagger and is deceiving them. She says that humans are beasts. They can't be trusted. The girl again tells Espresso in a hoarse voice that it's still true he saved her. Espresso responds that that's why she stays quiet, and it's not like anyone told her to kill him. They're just beasts tearing each other apart. Suddenly, Counselor Celeblaze arrives and asks her about what she said. The other fairy approaches Celeblaze to support her, as she seems to be sick. Celeblaze is a royal fairy whose name means sacred sun in the ancient Lang language. Despite having royal heritage, she has infinite life. It was a toy that Boss Crimson especially valued. She was also the one who was imprisoned in the basement for the longest time. Celeblaze starts crying and tells them that Kang could have escaped on his own, but he freed her, and surprisingly says he knows he is behind her eternal life. Celeblaze asks if she knows that her savior used the Dark Magic Pact. Meanwhile, Kang Han-su uses the breach of the pact. Anyone who violates a pact must return what they took. The boss ends up self-destructing. After underestimating Kang's life, Espresso tells Celeblaze that he remembers when she used to run carefree around the palace, but now it's a distant memory of the past. She cries no Celeblaze, tells her that's why she needs to go find him. Fairy tells her it's dangerous since her condition is now worse after that. Celeblaze leaves. Meanwhile, God listens to them and watches, and then slowly leaves the scene. After a while, God arrives in the jungle, approaches a Kang is a bit stressed because he fell off the cliff. Meanwhile, in the temple, Prince Alces is with the heroes who wish to become swordsmen. The students are surprised to see that they are taking a tea break. Suddenly, he takes all the students to the banquet hall. After a while, everyone sits at the dining table. Prince Alces tells them to toast to the heroes who have chosen the path of the swordsman. The knights cheer and shout. The heroes are scared to see their enthusiastic excitement after that. Prince Alces tells the students that he will show them a simple demonstration to enhance their understanding. He asks the commander to accompany him. The commander agrees and prepares. Prince Alces tells them they will first demonstrate the fencing that everyone is familiar with. He tells the commander to limit his fencing skill. After that, they begin a duel. Prince Alces attacks the commander while he steps back. Prince Alces attacks quickly, and the heroes are impressed watching him. Prince Alces thanks the commander for his sword dance. After that, Prince Alces says he will now show them the true fencing that everyone will learn. Some energy is released from Prince Alces' sword. The commander's sword also releases energy. Both prepare for the duel again. It begins in their second duel, and the light of their energy is intense when colliding in a single strike. The commander's sword breaks and he is defeated. Prince Alces appreciates the commander for his skills. Meanwhile, the heroes are curious about what just happened. Prince Alces tells them that the power to cut through all of the opponent's defenses in a single strike is called fencing. He tells them to forget about the Demon King because they can't even defeat the armored cavalry. Within the imitations of cuts, one of the heroes says it seems that fencing is about seeking efficiency. The Prince Alces tells them they understood, so now he will start teaching fencing. He tells them to take a sip of the tea in front of them. They all drink it but find it tastes terrible. Prince Alces tells them they need a warrior's blessing to learn fencing. He explains that the tea is medicine, a practical method to obtain the blessing quickly and safely. He adds that they must get used to the taste. They all drink their tea. Choi Kang-min drinks it and asks for another cup of medicine. Prince Alces tells him it's better to eat some snacks, and he asks the commander to serve another cup of tea for Choi Kang-min. Meanwhile, in the jungle, God and Kang are sitting in a tree. Kang thinks that this time there were no gnolls to reduce the impact. He feels relieved there's a forest right below the cliff. He believes the mercenaries who pursued him persistently left the village. He thinks he would have been defenseless if the bribed guard hadn't opened the village door. Suddenly, some gnolls arrive and see Kang in the tree. Kang watches them as they greet him cordially. He finds it ironic that he trusts the gnolls more than humans or fairies. He then jumps to the ground and kills the gnolls in one blow. Kang says it's easy since there are only 3 gnolls. He tells God that his body seems to have become more elegant than before and is curious about it. He checks his status window but notices that nothing changes. Suddenly, he notices the dividend is now 3.43. He asks God what it means. God smiles at him and advises that the higher it is, the better it will be. Kang gives him a strange look and thinks that for the first time, he is hearing something valuable from God. Meanwhile, one of the gnolls is still alive. Kang approaches it and says he wants to ask something. He tells it he is quite angry with the fairies. The gnoll is happy to hear about the fairies because it wants to eat them. Kang thinks the solution he found is the gnoll's swordsmanship. He believes he is too weak to take revenge on the goddess. Even if he reaches level 2, he decided that the best thing is to imitate the fencing style that only gnolls can use. As the chief said, at least it will make him stronger than he is now. After that, he asks the gnoll about its red eyes and the power of flesh. He wants to see the power of flesh. He believes gnoll fencing is the power of flesh, but the information he has is not enough. He says he must research the gnoll's ecosystem to ensure his revenge is smooth. Meanwhile, in the dining hall, Prince Alces tells the heroes that it takes a talent for magic, but anyone can learn fencing if they have time and money. Meanwhile, the heroes need to catch up with this lesson. Suddenly, Choi Kang-min. Meanwhile, the heroes need to catch up with this lesson. Suddenly, Choi Kang-min asks for another cup of medicine. Prince Alces tells him to stop drinking for the day because efficiency can drop if he drinks too much. Choi thinks he needs to get stronger as quickly as possible because he is different from the others. Prince Alces approaches him and advises that it's better to cleanse his mouth with a bit of honey tea. He tells him that consistency is essential and that drinking 1 cup a day or even 2 is fine, but if he gets greedy, it could be counterproductive. Choi smiles and replies that 2 cups a day will benefit him. After that, the Elk Prince explains that the warrior's blessing does not settle quickly, just like a baby cannot become an adult overnight. Choi looks surprised to hear this, but suddenly receives a blessing called courage. This means he becomes stronger and more powerful the longer he fights, but the effect resets if he is defeated or if his will to fight breaks. Choi is surprised but happy. The Elk Prince congratulates him and tells him he now has high expectation for him since he has received the blessing of the god of battle. Choi replies that he feels flattered. After that, the Elk Prince tells them he will show them how to hide their status window. On the other hand, a gnoll named Fang is devouring its prey in the jungle. Kang is watching him. It has been a couple of days since he started following the gnolls to observe their power. Suddenly, Fang notices him and lunges at him to attack. Kang manages to escape and realizes that the gnoll tries to hunt him whenever he gets the chance. After defeating Fang, Kang notices he still feels too weak. Kang checks Fang's status window and discovers that his name is Fang and that he is level 6. Kang asks him if he is really a level 6 player. Fang responds by flexing his biceps, proudly saying fairy meat as an explanation. Kang realizes that Fang refers to eating fairy meat, which supposedly grants power. He asks Fang why he is still weak despite having hunted 2 fairies. Fang gets sad and insists he is strong. Kang hits him again. Over time, Kang begins to learn about the characteristics of the gnolls. Fang tells him the direction to the fairy village where Kang was ambushed before. Kang starts to confirm that the chief's claims were not delusional but true. While traveling, Kang catches a rabbit and eats it. He notices that Fang's body also begins to change. Fang's strength starts to increase every time he eats. Kang thinks this method is simpler than the all-black magic of the chief that steals life force, although its effectiveness is reduced after eating the rabbit. Kang asks Fang if he is satisfied now. Fang starts growling, saying he wants more meat, and his eyes turn red. He charges at Kang again. Kang punches him with all his strength. He realizes that Fang's behavior reveals the power of meat. With this new understanding, Kang attacks Fang, again, cutting his body in 2 with all his strength. Kang feels confident and thanks Fang for helping him learn. Approaching Fang's remains, Fang murmurs that Kang is also a gnoll. Kang denies it, believing he is human. But notice that his hands are releasing red energy and his body feels changed. Kang realizes that the chemical reaction is driven by intense emotions and the Nox's greed for the flesh. God, who is watching, is surprised and tells Kang that this is the power of flesh. Kang responds that he doubts anyone could wield it. He asks God if he would have died using the strength derived from an exhausted life force if he hadn't had the outsider's blessing. God explains that the blessing resets after every meal, creating an infinite replenishment cycle. Later, that night, Kang and God wander through the jungle. The gnolls smell flesh nearby, but before anything happens, Kang appears and strikes the gnolls with a single blow, defeating them effortlessly. God is amazed by Kang's strength. Kang rushes forward, thinking that even though he has become stronger, he feels unhappy. God guides him in the direction they need to go. When they arrive at the fairy village, Kang smiles and says he will punish those fantasy barbarians with the power of fantasy. The guards are stationed outside the village. Kang considers sneaking in through the back tunnel, but the security is greater than expected. However, he feels satisfied because he memorized the village layout in advance. Meanwhile, God urges him to act now. Kang is curious why God suddenly tries to be helpful, but his instincts tell him the same. He runs towards the village wall and scales it using his dagger. Once inside the village, he feels relieved that no one is watching him. He carefully plans his next move. After a while, a guard appears. Kang grabs him from behind and puts a knife to his neck. He kills the guard and drags the body aside, reflecting that these people probably have others mourning their deaths, but he also has a family. He laments that he almost died without seeing his parents again because of these people, determined to not let them trample him anymore. Meanwhile, God watches him provocatively. 1x1. Kang kills several guards and gathers their bodies in one place, muttering to himself that the infiltration was fun, but so far, he has only encountered mercenaries. He wonders how he will find the fairies. He reasons that both fairies and humans should need to use the bathroom, but he wonders why he hasn't seen any fairies yet. God mocks Kang's late realization. Kang tells him not to be mean. Suddenly, he hears voices. Some humans have captured the fairies. Kang finds this development exciting. On the other hand, that prisoner has been kidnapped by some men and is being taken to the basement. The mind of that prisoner is filled with multiple thoughts. Suddenly, he hears a lady's voice saying that Crimson believed they were ignorant of their actions, but they ignored it because they wanted to protect their new way of life. That prisoner recognizes the voice as belonging to the healer from before. The healer tells the other fairies that this situation is their retribution for letting their dear friend. He will fight this battle alone. Meanwhile, a boy tells his companion that he heard in the cafeteria that fairies despise humans. A bald man intervenes and says that something has happened in the village. A lady with blue hair instructs her men to begin. The men advance with daggers intending to kill the fairies in the name of Crimson. The bald man kills a suppresso. After a while, they kill more fairies until only Celeblis remains. She is tied up with ropes. Celeblis tells them that their goal will be completed if they kill her. But she warns them that killing her savior to keep her secret fills her with rage. The boy suggests they let Celeblis go if she agrees to keep her secret. Celeblis responds angrily that she can't believe an agreement based on threat could hold. The blue-haired lady responds that even if Celeblis lies, they would let her go. Celeblis smiles and seizes the opportunity to mock them, saying they should learn that fairies don't lie to save their own lives. The frustrated captors decide they have no other choice and prepare to kill her, promising it will be as painless as possible. Suddenly, Kang appears and quickly kills the man about to execute Celeblis and saves her. Celeblis is shocked to see him there. Kang tells Celeblis they have reunited, but first, he needs to deal with the remaining enemies. Kang rushes toward the attackers and kills them, thinking whether fairies or villagers who are on the chief's side, he has planned to destroy them from the beginning. A frightened girl begs Kang to spare her. Kang understands her language but thinks it would be unfortunate to let her go. He also kills her. Meanwhile, the blue-haired lady is fleeing, but Kang notices her. He suddenly throws his dagger, hits her, and kills her. Kang thinks it was smart to deal with that burly guy first. Suddenly, Celeblis starts to say something, but Kang can't understand her. Curious, he checks his status window and is shocked. She is at level 12. He has never seen someone else's status window before and wonders if she showed it to him on purpose. Kang notices that Celeblis has 3 blessings, all of high rank. One of her blessings is Tamer, which slightly enhances the abilities of animals that someone has tamed. Kang thinks that although this blessing is high rank, it would be useless without animals. He suspects there is only one reason she would deliberately show him her status window. Kang tells her he knows her name is Celeblis. She smiles upon hearing this. Kang feels nothing, probably due to the outsider blessing. Meanwhile, God is angry with Kang. Kang feels nothing, probably due to the outsider's blessing. Meanwhile, God is angry with Kang. Kang sits down and comments that he knows he won't remain an outsider if he's punished. Celeblis seems surprised by his words. Kang thinks that Celeblis might be a lucky fairy, even though he initially planned to kill all fairies. He hesitates because she has had a similar experience to his. Kang decides that to survive, he needs to interact with the indigenous peoples of this world. After freeing Celeblis, he tells her to take care of the rest by herself. Kang reflects that if he kills all the fairies here, he won't be different from them. Suddenly, Celeblis runs towards him. He grabs her and tells her to stop complicating things. Celeblis says his name, and Kang is surprised to hear it. After a while, they walk through the village streets. Kang comments that despite so many people having died, the village is unsettlingly quiet. He asks God if he knows the reason. God responds with disdain that he is not in the mood. Kang considers getting rid of Celeblis to calm God's anger, but realizes he can't trust anyone in the village, and the forest is full of gnolls. He decides it's best to leave immediately. Kang grabs Celeblis and starts running. While running, Celeblis tries to tell him something. She raises her hand, and Kang sees a phoenix approaching. He is surprised. Celeblis smiles at him. After a while, the phoenix lands on the ground. Celeblis greets the phoenix and asks Kang to let her down. Kang releases her, and she approaches the phoenix, speaking to it as if they understand each other. Kang is amazed and realizes that this is due to her, Tamer's blessing. Afterward, Celeblis returns to Kang, hugs him, and kisses him. God is furious at the sight. Kang asks him what he's doing, clearly confused. The phoenix starts to circle around them. Suddenly, Kang notices Celeblis sitting on the phoenix. She tells him something and then leaves. On the other side, God is pulling his hair in anger. Kang tells God that he is also upset and can't believe that Celeblis has repaid his generosity with misconduct. Suddenly, a status window appears in front of Kang, and he is surprised by what it reveals. Kang sees that he has received a blessing from a fairy. He is delighted to discover that it is a high-ranking blessing. At the same time, God feels uncomfortable and annoyed. He tells Kang that all kinds of unexpected things can happen in life. The fairy explains to him that the blessing designates Kang as a friend of the fairies, which increases both his lifespan and his youth. Kang reflects that the blessing is similar to the outcast blessing. He realizes that if he uses the outcast blessing and the fairy's blessing together, the useful life he can burn with his flesh power will increase significantly. God tells him that he seems unusually happy. Kang responds that he is satisfied because he is separated from the fairy. God feels more at ease now. Later, in the middle of the jungle, Kang tells the outcast god that they should venture further this time. On the other hand, Prince Alsus and Princess Athena are gathered with the fantasy heroes. Prince Alsus tells the heroes that it has already been 3 days since their arrival. He explains that after meditation, they will raise their levels by hunting. He assures them not to be scared since the night orders will attract monsters closer for their first hunt. Princess Athena encourages the heroes and tells them that blessings are an absolute necessity for mages. She explains that when the rank of their blessings and their levels increase through the house, their competence will also grow. The heroes, encouraged by her words, are excited and ready to hunt. Suddenly, one hero notices a slime. The group prepares to attack it, but Princess Athena and Prince Alsus stop them, explaining that slimes are beneficial creatures that do not harm humans, so they should remain unharmed. The heroes are surprised by this information. Princess Athena explains that slimes consume all kinds of garbage and dirt, pests, and even corpses. She tells them that slimes reduce the risk of infectious diseases in the area. Holding the slime in her hand, she emphasizes that attacking slimes is prohibited, even for heroes, as it would be considered savage. The heroes apologize for their misunderstanding, then Prince Alsus tells the heroes that gnolls with an average level of 2 would be the most appropriate targets for their first hunt. However, their main target today is a gnoll with an intermediate level of 4. The girls in the group are surprised to hear this. Princess Athena reassures them, saying they don't need to worry because they have a saint who can revive them if they suddenly die. Prince Alsus adds that with the people they have today, they could even handle orcs with an average level of 6. He intervenes to support Princess Athena, backing her words. After a while, the hunt begins. The students encounter the gnolls and are shocked to see them. Choi Kang-min is excited because he finally has a prey to fight. He attacks a gnoll but misses, and the gnoll injures his eye, leaving him in pain. The gnolls start to take down the heroes one by one. The mages try to fight with magic, but their spells have no effect. The gnolls are each hero island wounded after the battle. The saint approaches Prince Alsus and thanks him for his efforts in guiding the heroes. She sits near one of the wounded heroes and calmly comments that there must be a reason why God chose these people as heroes and sent them to this land. She uses her powers to heal the wounded heroes. Appearing serene, she tells them that every time they die, she will revive them. After some time, the heroes are revived and continue hunting. Choi Kang-min is with his group facing a gnoll. Choi charges at the gnoll using his blessing of courage, and this time he succeeds in defeating the gnoll. A certain god congratulates Choi for being smart, and Choi feels happy to have reached level 2. He also gains 2 new blessings: command and acceleration. The acceleration allows him to move incredibly fast in critical moments. The command grants any group he leads a slight increase in their abilities. Choi watches as his teammates celebrate. Suddenly, he notices that a gnoll is attacking Yang, but his group kills the gnoll. Yang encourages her team and announces that she is now at level 2. Meanwhile, other girls look at her with envy. Yang Monan thinks to herself that beauty is also a weapon. She has received a blessing called color, a beauty that frees her from ungraceful acts like physiological phenomena and physical maintenance. Yang feels ecstatic and thanks her group for their support. Choi thinks that Yang made a smart move. Then he approaches the other girls and offers to help them. Meanwhile, all the gods are closely watching the heroes' activities. On the other hand, Yubo Ra is fighting alone against a gnoll, facing some difficulties but remains determined, saying she can handle it. She uses her magic power to create a fireball and successfully defeats the gnoll. Yubo Ra checks her status window. She sees that she has also reached level 2 and received a blessing called **weapon***, meaning her body can function as a powerful weapon in all situations. Some gods applaud her, and she thanks them. She notices that her wooden sword feels unusually firm due to the blessing. While examining her status window, another gnoll suddenly attacks her. Thanks to her blessing, her weapons are powerful and can be restored. She defeats the gnoll by striking it with her sword and then using her magic power to deliver a fatal blow, cutting its throat. Shortly after, she receives a notification that she has reached level 3. Yubo feels very happy knowing she accomplished it on her own. In contrast, Choi Kang-min feels irritated as some of the guys in his group are busy fighting gnolls to impress Yang. Elsewhere, Prince Alsus and Princess Athena are watching the hero's progress. Meanwhile, at noon, Kang has killed countless gnolls. God asks him if he knows how many he has defeated. Kang responds that even without looking, he knows he has killed at least a few thousand. Kang checks his status window and feels frustrated despite checking his status repeatedly while fighting. He notices that a curse has been added but he hasn't leveled up. God also feels uneasy. Kang responds that he is okay, knowing that the growth will be challenging due to that evil goddess's curse, but he didn't expect it to drop so much. He is angry and says that his level isn't going up at all. He notices that God is looking at the stars and feels curious about why he is so interested in them. Suddenly, on the other hand, he wants to know about the *** massacre curse ***, meaning that friendly races will fear him a bit and find him terrifying. Kang says he is being forced to be an objective observer. Meanwhile, God is cheering him on. Suddenly, he sees that he is wearing a precious bracelet and takes it off. Kang is stealing his treasures as he is sure they all belong to humans or fairies. He thinks he can't level up, so money is the only way to get stronger. Suddenly, there are many gnolls coming toward him. Kang sees them, and there are still gnolls left. He checks his status window, and the gnoll named gnolls coming toward him. Kang sees them, and there are still gnolls left. He checks his status window, and the gnoll named Hook makes the fairies cry at level 6. Kang knows they devised a plan because they thought having the numerical advantage wasn't enough, and it seems they eat a lot of meat. Kang is also ready for the fight. Everyone rushes at the same time to attack him. Kang jumps to take them down. There's a burst of meat energy released by him. He says he's glad so many good masters came to seek him out personally. Meanwhile, The gnolls are shocked to see his jump kill one of them, and he thanks them because with their help, he learns to use his powers naturally. He says he will always be incredibly insufficient, no matter how much they prepare. After a while, he defeats them all. Now he has a lot of gold. He thinks he has a language problem with the merchants. They are no better than rocks if he can't sell this at the right price. Kang thinks he needs a translator. He also says he can trust them since they are really bad at lying. Suddenly, a man with a devil horn appears. He asks where the one who takes care of all these gnolls is going. Kang is surprised to see him. The man approaches him, suddenly grabs him, smiles, and says he finally found someone who understands his language. He asks his name and tells him he doesn't know what kind of gnoll he is but thinks they can be friends. The man responds, hinting that he is a demon, not a gnoll. Kang is shocked to hear this. He believes that demons are very powerful humanoids, as the goddess said. She told them that the hero's goal was to defeat the great demon king. He also thinks that if even the gods had to ask for help from other worlds, demons must be powerful. Suddenly, the demon shouts at him and tells him to hit someone on the nerve. In the first introduction while claiming to be friends, it's ridiculous. He also tells him that the belief that all demons are strong is a prejudice. Kang apologizes and tells him he is too weak. The demon starts to cry. After that, he tells Kang that he is abnormally strong. He asks him who he is, since he is so strong at level 1. He replies that it's all thanks to his blessings. The demon doesn't believe him and tells him he's not stupid, as he can see more curses than blessings. Kang is surprised. The demon tells him he has an observation blessing in one of his eyes. He also tells him he has another gift besides observation that allows him to look at the status windows of others. Meanwhile, God is also watching everything. The demon tells Kang that he is a dark wizard and cannot learn dark magic if he's stupid. He tells him he's currently training away from home for marriage, so don't treat him like an insignificant human. He tells him he was already of suitable age to marry long before he was born. On the contrary, God pushes Kang to ask more about the demon's personal history. After that, Kang asks why he hasn't been able to get married so far. He grabs him by the neck. The demon is upset with his actions. The demon responds that the stronger a demon island, the more partners they can have. He tells him he ran away because he didn't want to become the 243rd husband of an old demon. Kang looks at him with pity. The devil asks how he can move. Kang doesn't understand. The devil tells him he used a significant amount of that paralysis potion that would paralyze even a fairy with solid natural resistance. So how is he immune to it being just a level 1 human? Kang sees the poison bottle. Kang remembers the Crimson boss who had poisoned him before, tells the devil that he is reminding him of such an annoying memory. The devil tries to bind Kang with magic, but Kang escapes. Kang asks him what his connection is to the boss. The devil replies it's a silly question since he doesn't know how many leaders he has met. Kang tells him he's talking about the leader with a gnoll head on his chest. The devil remembers and tells him he knows that boss. He tells Kang that the boss is a human on the brink of death and his story is one that would make anyone cry. He also tells Kang that he saved the boss from that fairy's curse. Kang responds that he is the wizard who helped that rotten boss. Meanwhile, in the jungle, the saint tells the students that other heroes have dropped out of training and returned to the temple. The funds will now be invested in the remaining heroes. The heroes are happy to hear this. The Prince Moose tells them that an average of 3 levels in a single day is unprecedented speed. He also tells them that they are all truly unique. As expected of humanity's hope, suddenly a knight arrives and informs Prince Moose and the saint that they have discovered a gnoll. In the middle of a binge, the saint asks about the gnoll's level. He replies that it's at level 5. She tells Moose that the 3 heroes are at level 3, so it's a rare opportunity and good experience for them. If they fight the gnoll, after a while, the heroes are with Prince Moose to hunt the level 5 gnoll. They arrive at their destination and Prince Moose tells them to keep quiet. He whispers that, although it may seem silly, this gnoll is a special unit. It's so combative that it would even attack someone much stronger, so they must be careful. Princess Itena adds that a full gnoll can even use dark magic, so they must be careful when its eyes shine. Red suddenly, the gnoll spots them. Prince Moose tells the heroes to stay back. The heroes are a bit scared. Choi reassures them, saying there's no need to be afraid using his command. Blessing, he tells his companions that since the gnoll is bigger, it should be slower than the gnolls they faced before. As he speaks, the gnoll appears behind him, ready to attack suddenly. An explosion occurs and the gnoll starts hitting them individually, proving to be more powerful than expected. Yubo Ra uses his magic and sword to attack the gnoll, but his attack fails and the gnoll throws it away. Yang, scared and wholly, sees the gnoll approaching her, prays for help, but his blessing amulet works on the gnoll, preventing it from attacking her. The gnoll smiles at her. Suddenly, the Moose Prince arrives and kills the gnoll. Yang Mian is a bit nervous at the same time as the Moose Prince. He hears the sound of heroes fighting fiercely against a strong opponent, suspecting that they might have God's blessing on their side. The devil is panting and tells Kang how he can spin like a twig. He says he has a favor he can't do, so he wants to die. The devil uses his power and is annoyed since it feels similar to the outsider. Can thanks him for helping the boss out of pity, but scolds him for almost dying. A senseless death. Can asks if he wants them to hit him more or if he wants help. The devil replies that it's too much to ask, but mentions a terrifying saint in the nearest town to them. He also says he can't die without getting married. The devil seems excited and tells Kang they can go to the second nearest town, and he will guide him there. Kang agrees, thinking he doesn't want to go to the village where the goddess's henchman resides. As they travel, the devil mentions that the knights have been restricting entry to the forest for the last 2 days, so they need to take a longer route. He adds that he would need them to check his identity, which is dangerous for a demon like him. Ken thinks that if this is the case, then it can't be avoided. He believes he will also face difficulties due to the language barrier and feels annoyed with the goddess. Meanwhile, God laughs at him. On the other hand, Hangu is walking in the jungle with girls from the Mercenary Guild. One of the girls mocks him, saying he might be the least useful person among all the villagers she's met. She sarcastically asks if he learned about the world from a picture book. Since he doesn't even know what a latrine is, Hangu thinks to himself that bathrooms aren't mentioned in novels or comics. Although he wants to say something, he holds back because in the last 2 days, she paid for the inn, his armor, and even his weapon. Suddenly, she notices he's staring at her intensely and comments on it. Hangu nervously explains that it's just a misunderstanding. He says he likes walking behind people, smiling at the thought of a beautiful girl like her helping and caring for a stranger. It must be due to the unique effect of his blessing. However, she is not impressed and calls him stupid, remembering how he attacked a slime. Earlier, she warns him that beyond this point is orc territory and suggests he start with simple tasks in the village. She emphasizes that orcs are much more dangerous than trolls and warns him not to leave the forest. Kang assures her he understands. Meanwhile, the gods watching the events increase. Hangu feels smug, thinking that while others grow slowly like ornamental plants in a greenhouse, he will be active in the field and monopolize the blessings of the gods. The girl finds it creepy when she sees him smiling to himself, then explains that the territory Gnoll is a tough place for a slime-rank mercenary, which is the lowest rank among mercenaries. Suddenly Han-woo notices that he has gained a new blessing that provides additional experience. Although he acknowledges that the blessing comes with risks, he confidently dismisses them, believing they aren't a problem for a main character like him. After a while, they arrive at a place. Han-woo asks if she's sure this is where the request was made. Since there are no gnolls in sight, she admits he's right and wonders if something happened to the forest. Han-woo smiles, joking that extraordinary incidents always happen wherever he goes. She doesn't understand his point and calls the situation problematic. While examining the map, she mentions that she thought they could handle the request to bring back 5 gnoll ears quickly. Right, Hangu suggests they go deeper into the forest, but she warns him it's not something easy. She proposes they return to the guild for new information. Hangu confidently tells her to trust him. For now, she skeptically asks why he's so sure. Suddenly, a gnoll appears and attacks Hangu. He manages to save himself, but is shocked by the encounter. The girl rushes toward the gnoll, shouting at Hangu to wake up. She jumps and attacks the gnoll with her sword, but the gnoll's steel armor turns out to be too strong. She realizes it could be a named monster after asking Han-woo if he's okay. She prepares for another fight. The gnoll stands in front of them, and she tells Han-woo to draw his sword, explaining that named monsters are incredibly powerful. Han-woo, seeing the gnoll for the first time, admits it's scarier than he imagined. Before they can act, 2 more gnolls appear. She tells Hangu to listen carefully, and says she'll attract its attention so he can escape. Hangu refuses, joking about leaving his axe behind. She insists there's no time for jokes. Suddenly, one of the gnolls throws a rock at Han-woo, hitting him. Hard blood spills from his mouth, and he faints when Han-woo regains consciousness. He asks about the gnolls. She replies that she has taken care of all of them and is wrapping a cloth around her injured hand. Hangu is surprised and asks if her injury is because of him. She tells him it was her mistake, and that he shouldn't blame himself. However, Hangu feels both guilt and anger, deeply concerned about her condition. Hangu, worried about the girl's wound, begins to look for ways to heal her through his status window. She tries to calm him, telling him it was her mistake and that he shouldn't blame himself. Meanwhile, he receives a notification that a certain god is laughing at him and mockingly asks how he feels now. Hangu, frustrated, shouts at the god, telling him not to laugh, since this isn't funny. Suddenly, he receives a curse from the god for his behavior. The curse is that he can't see things even without physical barriers. At first, Hangu is confused, but when he tries to look through his status window and fails, he realizes the meaning of the curse, which frustrates him deeply. He becomes sad. The girl notices him murmuring and asks if he's okay. Han-woo sees her but realizes he can't anymore. He can't see through things like before, which solidifies the effect of the curse in his mind. Then she mentions that the forest feels ominous and suggests returning to the city before more gnolls attack, which could put them in serious danger. This time, Han-woo agrees, thinking about the saint in the city who could fix his arm. He promises her that he will take responsibility and heal her arm because he is the hero of legends. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the jungle, Kan walks with the devil, who finally introduces himself as Cosmos. Cosmos explains that he is the 23rd son of the 348th wife of the 14th demon king. He also shares that while humans greatly value royalty in demon society, anyone with power can rule, making noble and royal status less significant. Kang smiles and mocks Cosmos, calling him a nobody demon with nothing, which makes Cosmos start to cry. Kang feels bad and comforts him, asking about his nickname. Cosmos reveals that his nickname Moss was given to him by an old friend, who later became the 425th wife of the 7th demon king. He regrets not being able to congratulate her after she had her first child. He feels sorry for Cosmos, who is obsessed with marriage, but he doesn't think his problems are as bad as his, having been kidnapped into a fantasy world. Meanwhile, a god watching over Kang urges him to leave the forest, calling it boring. Kang notices that this god behaves differently, when with demons instead of fairies or humans. As they continue, Cosmos sees tracks and announces that they are close to the edge of the forest. He warns Kang not to let his guard down, as beyond the forest lies the Night Realm, ruled by sword masters and also bordering the territory of the orcs. Kang seems excited, wondering if there are strong warriors among the orcs. Cosmos warns him that the orcs are on a completely different level than the gnolls they faced earlier. On a cliff overlooking the orc territory, Cosmos points out the orcs below. Kang watches them and notices they seem like ordinary orcs. However, one of the orcs suddenly sniffs the air and detects a human nearby. The orc announces to his comrades that a male human is close. Cosmos blames Kang, saying that his bright red eyes are attracting attention. Kang, unfazed, explains that he can hide them but forgot. Cosmos scolds him, adding that Kang's wealth stinks, making him a target for the orcs. Kang decides to approach them and jumps off the cliff. Landing in front of the orcs, he casually greets them, but the orcs demand that he give up everything he has, even mocking him by calling him a pig. Kang corrects them, saying that he is human, but notes to himself that while these orcs are more eloquent than the gnolls, they are not smart enough for a meaningful conversation. Kang realizes he has no choice but to deal with them. Cosmos had warned him that orcs are stronger than the gnolls and are skilled at teamwork, efficiently surrounding their prey. Kang, however, provokes them by asking why they don't just turn over everything they have. Before the orcs can respond, Kang quickly stabs a dagger into the head of one orc. The remaining orcs are shocked, their expressions showing both anger and disbelief. At that moment, Kang thinks confidently about how he can handle this fight. Thanks to the outcast's blessing, he smiles arrogantly and declares that he will decide who is related to the pigs. Kang continues to systematically eliminate the orcs, leaving only 2 standing. They prepare for a fight, but Kang mocks Cosmos, saying he thought orcs were stronger than the gnolls. Cosmos defensively responds that they are, but he is the rare one with a few decisive moves. Kang dispatches the remaining orcs, then Kang arrogantly asks to take care of them. They were easier than he expected. Turning to Cosmos, he adds that if he is going to accompany them, he should at least try to help. However, Kang notices something is wrong with Cosmos. Before he can ask, Cosmos trembles and points to the sky where a giant dragon is flying. To Kang's surprise, Cosmos reveals that a saint is riding the dragon. Cosmos urges Kang to take him away, which irritates Kang. Reluctantly, Kang lifts Cosmos onto his back and begins to walk, muttering that he has never carried even his parents, and now he is carrying a demon on his back. Meanwhile, God mocks Kang, suggesting he feed Cosmos to the orcs. Cosmos, hearing this, sarcastically agrees, adding that if anyone finds out a human helped him, his marriage prospects will drop to 0. Kang smiles and threatens to spread the rumor everywhere once they escape the forest. Annoyed, Cosmos asks if Kang is just an ordinary human. Kang confidently replies that he is not, he will become a hero. Cosmos is surprised and comments that the curse of a hero is usually only given to demons who lose to heroes and flee. This curse is known as the hero's nemesis, making it almost impossible to level up, effectively reducing a demon to a living corpse. Kang, surprised by this revelation, asks if it's really possible to gain power in this world with such limitations. Cosmos wonders aloud why Kang, despite being a mere human, has such immense power, speculating whether the outcast's blessing has additional effects they do not yet understand. While they argue, Cosmos glances at Kang's status window and discovers the true nature of the Outlander title. He explains to Kang that the blessing resets all his progress to the beginning, which is why Kang doesn't need to eat, sleep, or even recover from injuries. They simply disappear as if they never existed. Cosmos declares it a blessing akin to a trap, but Kang bitterly disagrees, calling it a curse. No matter how much experience Kang gains, his status always resets, preventing him from getting stronger. Cosmos asks how Kang plans to become powerful with such a limitation. Kang grimly responds that he'll figure it out at a temple. One of the heroes complains angrily about losing battles, but his comrade Choi calms him down, reminding him that they aren't the only ones fighting. Prince Alsace enters and encourages the group, saying they're leveling up quickly. Even if they're only at level 4, he worries about the lack of enemies to hunt, which could slow down their progress. The commander informs Prince Alsace about strange developments in the forest. Initially, they believed the annihilation of the Gnoll territory was the work of a famous mercenary group. However, a deeper investigation revealed that the sword techniques used to eliminate the Gnolls were identical across all bodies, suggesting it was the work of a knightly order. Prince Alsace orders the commander to delegate the investigation to the Intelligence Guild while preparing for the heroes to hunt orcs. The commander is surprised but complies, knowing they need the heroes to strengthen. Back in the forest, Han-Wu finally reaches the outskirts of the city, carrying the injured girl on his back and panting heavily. Prince Alsace is surprised to see him like this. Instantly, Han-Wu shouts and calls for the saint. Han-Wu's companions are also shocked to see him. Han-Wu shouts again and says he heard she returned to the temple. Prince Alsace tells him to mind his manners. Han-Wu apologizes and says a girl's life is at stake because of him. Suddenly, Princess Atena arrives and is surprised to see the girl. It seems they know each other. The girl tells them that she is now just an ordinary mercenary. After that, Han-Wu tells Princess Etna to take him to the saint. Meanwhile, the saint comes and angrily says there's too much noise outside. She asks them, what's going on here? Prince Alsace says that the hero Hanwo has returned. Hanwo is about to request her, but the guards stop him. At the same time, the saint sees his status window and tells him he is already at level 1 with the curse. He responds that he also recruited an excellent comrade. Then the saint sees the status window of the girl with Hanbo. Her name is Arya, and she is a level 12 player. The saint thinks she has a noble blessing of rank B. If she isn't a marquise, she is probably the daughter of a duke. He says that Arya is excellent. Hangwo tells the saint that Arya protected him with her life. He can say that she is worthy. The saint tells him to take a look around. She says there are Templars and knights above level 30, who would gladly sacrifice themselves for humanity. She asks him how exactly Ares is excellent compared to them. Hanwo is shocked to hear this. The saint asks him the same question again. He answers loudly that her potential makes her perfect. The saint tells him that she will probably be right. In a few years, she will be a beautiful young woman. Hanwo smiles and tells the saint that she is talking about her talent. She responds that he already has several friends who radiate talent. She also tells him that while he is stuck at level 1, some of his peers have already reached level 6 inches the last 5 days. Hanwo is surprised. He feels like they are laughing at him and mocking him since he is still at level 1. After that, the saint asks him if there is anything he wants to say. Hanwo is embarrassed. He begs the saint, saying that Arya is a special comrade to him, so please heal her hand. She rejects his request. Hanwo is shocked. The saint tells him that before asking for a favor, he must first prove his worth. She also asks him, in the first place, why he should pay his debt. She sits in front of him and tells him that she thinks he is taking the miracle of a saint lightly. He responds that it is not like that. She tells him that in that case, she will share with him the results of the miracle she performed recently. She orders the priest to read something. The priest begins to read and says that his nation would like to gift the following to the saint for healing the great counselor Celeblaze. 15 spirit swords containing the essence of the forest, 200 ancient moonlight tree bows, 600 tamed unicorns, 15 feathers from a phoenix, and 40 other items to prove their worth. The heroes are shocked. After that, she asks Hangwo if he can prove his worth. He responds that he should consider it an investment, since he will quickly become stronger. She tells him to speak after becoming stronger. Hangwo is upset. He also hears his peers speaking poorly of him. He becomes sad suddenly. Yu Bora raises his hand and tells the saint that he might be overstepping by asking for this favor. He asks if he could accept that swordswoman as his partner. The saint thinks that Eubora seems to be marginalized by the other heroes for some reason, but has too much potential to be left like that. She wonders what she should do next. The saint tells her that if an excellent hero like her wants her, then she can make that happen. Then the saint tells Arya to show her hand. The saint heals her, and tells her that from today she will be the sword and shield of hero Eubora, and that she must not forget that until the moment she dies. Meanwhile, Arya is in shock as she regains her hand. She cries. The saint tells her to stand by hero Yubo Ra. Immediately after that, the saint tells Prince Alsace that they have wasted too much time on this incident. It's insignificant, so please speed up the rest of the plans. Everyone leaves. Hango is very sad. Suddenly, Princess Etna approaches him and tells him that he may not have been recognized, but he wasn't wrong. She also tells him that he was the one who brought Arya to the temple and thanks him for saving her childhood friend. Hango is shocked to hear this. After that, Princess Atena gives him something and says it's a token of her gratitude. A magical formation forms. She tells him to be her second apprentice. Hangu is surprised and also receives the blessing of magic. Princess Etna wishes him the best of luck. After that, she leaves. Hangu smiles and says he didn't know Princess Etna liked him. Hangu stands up and says out loud, "Let's start over." Meanwhile, Kang is fighting with the orcs. They are fleeing for their lives, but he kills them one by one. Kang, he says, another day, another horde has picked a fight with me. After a while, he kills them. Kang thinks these guys aren't calling for their comrades like the gnolls did, but since this place is flat, they also have no place to hide. He says their animals aren't food for him either. After that, he approaches Cosmos and sees he has no horns. Kang asks if he hides them with magic. He replies that it's just a simple trick, since they must now enter a city. Kang asks why he didn't do it from the start. Cosmos tells him that they have blocked his region. He also says it would be stranger if a mere human were still alive with half his body destroyed. Meanwhile, Kang thinks about Cosmos as he considers him brighter than a gnoll. Kang believes he said it was the second closest city, so he thought they would get there pretty quickly. Suddenly, he hears a voice. On the other hand, the orcs attack a convoy. A fight breaks out between orcs and humans. Kang is watching everything. Cosmos tells him it's fine if he doesn't help. He replies that just because he's a demon doesn't mean he wants to marry the Demon King's grandmother. Cosmos apologizes to him. Kang tells him to observe for now. At least he can avenge them later. Cosmos calls him heartless. Kang thinks it could be brutal, but it can't be helped since he still can't trust all humans in this world. On the other hand, the orcs are defeating their opponents. Some human guards are standing in front of the cart. It seems they are protecting something. One of the orcs tells his companions that it seems there is a woman there. His companion replies to ignore it and grab the food, since it's better for them. Suddenly, two women come out of the cart, ready to fight the orcs. The leader of the orcs tells them to leave, but it seems they want to die. One lady uses her magical power and throws fireballs at the orcs. The other uses her sword skills and jumps to kill them. She has some water powers. There's an explosion that occurs. Kang is surprised to see this and asks Cosmos if it's magic. He replies that it's nothing. Kang tells him he doesn't like this. Cosmos asks if he's upset that the innocent humans survived. He replies that he thinks it's a shame he lost his chance for revenge. Kang feels like these girls seem to be the elites of the world. He bets on getting along with powerful people like this, thinks it would make his life with these barbaric fantasy people easier. Meanwhile, the girls are fighting against the orcs. Suddenly, he shouts that there's a lovely pig here. Cosmos is surprised to hear this. Kang thinks that, thanks to the hero's curse, those humans won't understand the meaning of his shout. But these orcs will understand it perfectly. On the other hand, the girls are in shock. More orcs come. Meanwhile, Cosmos thinks that Kang used his curse to call the orcs. After that, Kang says it's time to help these ladies. Cosmos tells him this is different from his original goal. He replies that plans sometimes change. The girls are gasping and the orcs are laughing at them. Kang also arrives there. The orcs are surprised to see him. Kang sees that things look good here, so he should wait a little longer. The orc leader is confused about why he's here. He replies that he's just an apostle of the outsider passing by the orcs. Tell Kang he doesn't seem afraid. One of them throws his sword at Kang, but Kang dodges instantly. All the orcs prepare to kill him. Kang sticks his fingers into an orc's nostrils and throws him away. Everyone is shocked to see this. Kang finds this method funny but also unpleasant. Suddenly the other orcs attack him at the same time, but he dodges every time. Now he sees through their attacks. The red orc attacks him several times. Meanwhile, Cosmos angrily tells Kang why he let his guard down. Kang cuts off the red orc's hand. The girls are shocked to see this. Kang asks Cosmos what he should watch out for. He replies that it was nothing. Kang also notices that this orc has turned red, which means he's related to the gnolls. Kang realizes he shouldn't have killed him, since he could have observed him more. After that, the guards thank Kang for saving their lives. Kang smiles and can now understand some words, thinks that studying is starting to pay off. Meanwhile, God feels uncomfortable with Kang's strange behavior. After that, some orcs think he's tired, so they can attack him and kill him quickly. Kang throws the red orc's arm. The orc is surprised to see this. Then Kang tells the orcs that they can turn red to raise their hands. An orc asks him how he can speak orc. Kang's eyes turn red and he replies that they can forget it if they can't after a while. Cosmo approaches Kang and tells him that it's okay. Kang replies that he isn't asking about himself, then points a finger at the guards and the girls who are looking surprised. Kang realizes he used the power of call and tells Cosmo to do something about it. Cosmo approaches the guards and introduces himself, telling them he's sure they can tell by his unique name. But his friend here doesn't speak the common Western language. One of the girls is surprised to hear about Kang. Cosmo sees the girl's status window and notices she has a hero's curse and a fairy's blessing of rank C. He tells Kang that it's a fantastic symbol of trust, considering that even humans who marry a fairy are at most rank R, like Kang. Kang responds that the first time the fairy took her favor, she did it this way. He gets angry and says that the whole misunderstanding is that damned goddess's fault. The girl approaches Kang and says something to him. Cosmo tells Kang that she's apologizing for doubting his savior. Kang smiles. He thinks he has managed to secure an excellent translator and is finally gaining the locals' trust. Meanwhile, God feels uncomfortable. Kang tells him to calm down since he'll tell him his secret at night. Kang is sitting near the campfire. God approaches and tells him that being powerless is not a sin. Kang responds that it's his blessing's fault, and he assumes he should be happy since he's no longer upset. Kang thinks that with this trap-like blessing, there's an advantage, but it also has a great disadvantage. All states return to normal. He gets sad and says it's been a while since he did something. Suddenly, a lady approaches him and calls his name Kang. He sees her and thinks her name is Julia. She is a noble lady attending a famous fantasy academy. He says this is a bit complicated since his damn translator is already asleep. Meanwhile, the lady sits far away. He wonders why she says his name and then sits far away. Maybe she wants to tell him to leave. At the same time, the lady is looking at him. Suddenly, she seems to want to tell him something again, showing him her dagger. Kang thinks she's telling him to show his powers too. Kang shows her his hand with gnolls' power. She is in shock to see this. Suddenly, she approaches him and repeats something. She seems worried. Kang doesn't know what happened to her. He thinks maybe she is angry to see her dagger since it's small. After that, the lady leaves. Kang says that a woman's heart is hard to decipher. Meanwhile, God laughs at him and says that someone powerless doesn't need to know. Outside the dormitory, the guards stop Hangu, but he tells them they can't stop him since he's also a hero. The Master of Mages responds that he is a failed hero. Hangu is surprised to hear this. The Master tells him that since he has left the temple and lost their support, he now has 3 options. The first option is to receive the Independence Fund and surrender, in which case he can no longer call himself a hero. If he is ever found breaking that rule, he will be executed. Hangu is saddened by this. The Master tells him that the second option is to return to training, but he can only receive support once he shows a promising score. Hangu thinks about how his classmates will mock him. Now he is curious about the third option. The Master explains that the third option is to entrust his body to the temple, where they will take care of everything for him, from finding a noble to marry to securing his retirement. However, he will not be allowed to leave the temple for the rest of his life. Hangu quickly decides to choose the first option, thinking he can't live his life trapped. The Master gives him a contract to sign. Hangu asks why they need a guarantee for this purpose. The Master explains that it would be wrong for a hero leaving the temple to tarnish the reputation of the remaining heroes, so it's a safety device. Then the Master gives Hangu some funds for his independence, and some identities to replace his hero status. Hangu is happy after receiving the funds and comments on how this differs from novels. The Master is surprised, but Hangu quickly tells him to ignore it, as he was just talking to himself. Hangu reflects on how in fantasy novels, characters who leave kingdoms or temples are seen as hypocritical and evil. Han-woo asks the Master if he can use the money as he wishes. The Master allows it. Exiting the temple, Han-woo considers how tempting it is to join with a noble girl. However, he decides that his path is different, as he is going to live like a true hero. He then heads to the slave market. Meanwhile, an assistant informs the Saintess that the hero, Hangu, has abandoned his mission. The Saintess worries about the decreasing number of heroes. She thinks it will become a problem if the numbers do not increase, as there are only 2 saints on the fantasy continent. Once the real fight begins, she will have to bear it all alone. The Saintess asks her assistant about the fairy kingdom and hears that the number of gnolls has decreased. The assistant explains that a mysterious order of knights is said to have eradicated the gnolls in the forest. The saint is surprised to hear this and comments that she thought it was a small elite squad that had mastered the same swordsmanship. The saint points out that this is not something a knight's order could achieve. The assistant suggests it could be the work of a demon king, and the saint is left stunned. The assistant quickly apologizes for her slip, and the saint advises caution, saying that a sudden judgment can be dangerous, but acknowledges that this crisis rivals an invasion by a demon king. She orders the assistant to investigate if a demon king is involved. The saint reflects that demon kings are mainly located in the east, with some active in the central region. However, they are not the type to work in the shadows. She laments the lack of resources to investigate. Suddenly, a master mage arrives and informs her of a communication from the academy. He explains that the academy wishes to invite the heroes to commemorate the school break. The saint is surprised that the academy knows about the summoned heroes. She asks how this information got leaked. The master mage explains that a student saw the hero's status window hanging in the mercenary guild. She sighs, thinking it was a mistake to let him act alone. She believes he would tire quickly in return. She also points out that while it's good for the existence of heroes, humanity's hope of becoming known is still too weak. She considers the Academy's invitation as an opportunity for the heroes to meet a valuable master or comrade. She tells the master mage they will review the invitation favorably. Suddenly, a knight arrives and reports that they found a bag containing a hero's personal belongings. The saint is shocked to hear this. Meanwhile, Cosmos and Kang are sitting in a cart. Kang observes that the girls they are traveling with are mercenaries. Cosmos confirms it, saying it's obvious. One of the guards says something to Kang, and Cosmos translates, explaining that the guard is asking how Kang is so strong, despite being only level 1 and what his training method. Island Kang smiles and comments that it's a superficial reason to talk to someone. Cosmos asks if he should translate it as Kang feels uncomfortable with their degenerative greed. Kang stops him. Cosmos tells Kang that he doesn't have to hold back since asking about people's training methods is rude in the first place. He also explains that while a strong body is an asset for mercenaries, they tend to be brazen in their curiosity. Kang responds that it's fine for mercenaries to be brazen. Cosmos warns him not to twist his words, explaining that lies don't always work. He adds that it's common for mercenaries to fight over a dispute and die. Kang suddenly sees his status window and is shocked that the experience penalty inhibiting his growth only applies to the house and achievements. It doesn't affect experience gained through other means. Kang asks Cosmos what he needs to do to become a mercenary. He replies that he has found a way to become stronger after a while. Kang and Cosmos finally arrive in the city. Kang is initially excited but suddenly becomes sad. Cosmos notices and asks why he's not happy. Kang replies that there's a foul smell at the city entrance. Cosmos explains that it's natural since travelers from all places gather at the city gates and many of them can't wash up. While they're in transit, he also reminds Kang that he's not one to talk, since he smells like orc blood. Kang feels offended and tells Cosmos that he can't believe how easily he says such hurtful things. Cosmos responds by saying that Kang shouldn't complain either. Kang changes the subject and mentions that the group of mercenaries they were traveling with disappeared upon entering the city. Cosmos tells him not to worry, since mercenaries often follow their own agendas and move within clear parameters. Kang now decides to try some food. He grabs some fruit looking happy and excited, while Cosmos teases him about his appetite. Cosmos reminds Kang that they have matters to handle since the ladies they're with are waiting for him. Kang reluctantly agrees later. One of the women expresses her gratitude for saving her life and suggests that they all stay at the same inn. Kang agrees to the plan, but Cosmos doesn't seem enthusiastic. Then Kang asks when they will go to the mercenary guild. Cosmos insists that Kang clean up first if he doesn't want to be kicked out of the guild. The moment he enters the inn, Kang freshens up and his clothes are cleaned by a slime, a creature trained to eat the dirt from fabric like a natural washing machine. Kang is fascinated by the slime and even plays with it. But Cosmos warns him that trained slimes are expensive and worth their weight in gold, so he shouldn't even think about taking one. After cleaning up, Kang complains that he doesn't have nice clothes to wear. Cosmos, having anticipated this, reveals that he already bought clothes for Kang. Although reluctant, Kang puts them on, however, when he leaves the inn. He feels unsatisfied with his appearance and annoyed. Meanwhile, Cosmos is having fun with the girls, which makes Kang a bit jealous as he murmurs to himself, hoping that Cosmos receives some divine punishment. To Kang's surprise, the girls soon join them looking stunning. Attracting everyone's attention around them, one of them apologizes for being late, but Cosmos reassures her, saying they just arrived. However, Kang is upset and asks Cosmos to suggest eating something delicious first. Cosmos agrees and offers to take them to a restaurant. Julia, one of the ladies, says something to Kang. Cosmos translates it, explaining that she is interested in going wherever Kang wants. This surprises Cosmos and visibly irritates him. Kang, now smiling, tells Cosmos to let him know that he also wants to eat. On the other side of the city, Hangu arrives at the slave market. He is surprised at how proudly it operates. As he walks through the market, he sees a muscular slave and thinks he would be perfect for running errands. However, Hangu is also evaluating other enslaved people, trying to determine the best option. Suddenly, someone comments that those slaves are no good. Hangu turns to see a fellow hero he recognizes from his training days. He is surprised and curious about why the boy is there with a big, intimidating man. The boy casually explains that he also left the training program and took the independence money, just like Hangu. Hangu nervously tells him to keep it a secret. The boy laughs and assures him there's nothing to worry about. He even suggests they get along now that they are in the same situation. The boy offers to share useful information with Hangu and points to a man in the market, explaining that he is in charge of the slaves, premium slaves that aren't displayed publicly. He adds that if the man finds out Hangu is a hero, he will present him with better options. Hangu is surprised but listens, as the boy explains that technically checking someone's status window isn't against the contract. Hangu agrees with his logic. Then the boy asks Hangu if he has decided which enslaved person to buy. Hangu declines to answer, feeling suspicious of the boy's overly friendly behavior, especially since they never interacted much back on the mainland. When Hangu leaves the market, the boy calls out to him, inviting him to come to the inn at the east gate of the city later to show off his slave. The overly friendly demeanor of the boy, especially because they never interacted much back on Earth when Hangu leaves the market. The boy shouts at him, inviting him to the inn at the east gate of the city later to show off his slave. If he wants to brag, Hangu agrees but remains cautious, thinking that the boy seems too friendly for someone who barely spoke to him in the past. Meanwhile, the boy watches him leave and notes to himself that Hangu is surprisingly careful. armed with a solid lead on his ideal choice as he approaches the slave market manager. He declares his intention to buy a enslaved person. The man, upon reading Hangu's status window and realizing that he gets excited and warmly greets him. After a brief dialogue, the man asks Hangu what type of warrior he is looking for. Hanwoo surprises him by asking for a strong female warrior. Intrigued, the man tells Hanwoo they have someone who fits his description. He decides to make an exception and show her to him. The man takes Hanwoo to a private area, keeping him curious. When they arrive, he reveals a powerful warrior named Marasi, who was once a notorious bandit operating in the northern regions of the Night Kingdom. She ended up being enslaved after her subordinates betrayed her. Hangu is stunned to see her. The man explains that Marasi is incredibly strong, capable of wielding a massive two-handed axe with ease. He orders her to show her status window, revealing she is level 17 and possesses multiple blessings despite the curse of slavery. The man explains that the slave curse binds a person to a master, nullifying their free will and ensuring absolute obedience. He assures Hangu that a proper order can prevent any betrayal. Despite his assurances, Hangu still feels a bit uneasy. The man, sensing his hesitation, laughs and insists on offering her to honor Hangu as a hero. However, Hanwoo clarifies that he is looking for a strong but slender female warrior, not necessarily someone as intimidating as Mira. The man agrees to let him choose from his stock and comments that Hanwoo's blessings will surely guide him. Hanwoo takes his time inspecting the candidates and finally chooses 3 slaves. The man presents them as Lusa, a red-haired woman of level 6.1 ***, charm blessing ***. Sarah, a slimmer and more agile warrior. Kaina, a robust but agile fighter. The man completes the transfer of ownership by destroying their previous contracts and emphasizes the importance of giving clear orders. Since there have been cases of slaves rebelling or escaping, Hangu nods, pays the man, and thinks to himself that with the right care and love, these women will never betray him. He then orders them to follow him, saying they will buy weapons for their upcoming missions. The women obey without questioning, and Hangu smiles, satisfied with his new companions. Meanwhile, Kang is struggling at the Mercenary Guild. He reflects that while eating and visiting the guild went well, he didn't anticipate needing to provide his signature for registration. Frustrated, he realizes he never learned to write properly. Cosmos notes his struggle and assures him that many mercenaries face the same problem. He hands Kang a paper with a sample signature and advises him to copy it. Although annoyed, Kang tries reluctantly. After 10 minutes of effort, Kang finally finishes copying the signature, proud of his work. He seems excited, but Cosmos bursts out laughing, mocking how laborious the process was. Confused by the reaction, Kang watches as the receptionist accepts the paper and completes his registration. Suddenly, Kang feels a strange sensation. He is blessed with a mercenary blessing and assigned a rank of place in his first assessment. Cosmos smiles and explains that Kang should thank the 2 ladies nearby since they endorse his skills with their own high ranks. Kang feels embarrassed but refuses to thank them directly. Cosmos scolds him and jokes that he'll buy Kang a children's storybook to practice writing. Soon, the ladies approach Kang, and one of them hands him a curious scroll. Kang reads it, and Cosmos translates, revealing that it is Kang's first mission, the subjugation of orcs. The task is simple: reduce the orc population and prevent their breeding. The reward is based on the number of orc noses he brings back. Kang is thrilled, calling it a sweet job, and immediately starts planning. He mischievously considers using the pretty girls as bait for the orcs. Unbeknownst to him, the women are watching him closely, possibly suspecting his thoughts. Cosmos interrupts Kang's plans and asks if he's thinking about another massacre. Kang denies it, smiling, and declares this time it won't be a massacre. It's going to be destruction. Kang and his group are in the middle of an intense battle against the orcs. Julia is fighting fiercely, but is caught off guard when an orc grabs her by the face and hits her. Wounded but resilient, Julia tries to recover with tremendous strength. Her teammate quickly intervenes, telling her to duck while launching a fireball at the orc. The flames engulf the creature, saving Julia. Grateful, Julia thanks her, but the girl advises her not to overexert herself, reminding her that tougher battles lie ahead. Julia downplays the concern. She assures her that she can handle this. Suddenly, to her surprise, the wounded orc gets up, ready to attack. Just when it seems dire, another orc attacks the first from behind, and both fall lifeless. Meanwhile, Lusa, the daughter of a count, watches Kang from a distance, having met Reyes, merchants, knights, and even fairies in her privileged life, reflecting that none of them is as unique as Kang, who is relentlessly killing the orcs. Kang, wielding his null-power dagger, cuts through the orcs with ease, despite the limitations of the hero's curse, which might raise suspicions that he is a demon. However, the blessing of his fairy, considered the supreme certification of a person's true identity, silences any doubts. The remaining orcs, terrified of Kang, try to flee, but he relentlessly pursues them. Driven by an unbreakable determination to exterminate them, Leah, worried, shouts at Kang to stop and rest. Surprised, Kang halts and notices Leah sitting down, apparently exhausted. She contemplates Kang's efforts, marveling at how he has eradicated almost all the orcs in the area without even sweating. Julia soon joins her, asking if she's okay. Noticing Leah's tired appearance, Julia teases her for asking to rest first. Luca responds, pointing out Julia's trembling legs, which embarrasses her a bit. Julia then praises Kang. Calling him amazing, Lucia agrees, attributing it to his blessings, but Julia clarifies, saying that it's not the blessings but his pure talent. Julia explains that Kang's swordsmanship is on a different level. She explains that his technique is dangerous and unstable, with the potential to destroy his body if he makes even the smallest mistake. And yet, he has maintained it all day. Amazed, Lucia asks if something like that is even possible. Julia admits she's not sure, pointing out that even she was considered a genius while growing up, but Kang's ability seems to go beyond. Meanwhile, as she suggests, they take a break. She hands Kang an illustrated step-by-step book to help him learn the common language. Kang begins to read, drawing the attention of the girls who watch him in silence. Meanwhile, Julia announces that she has reached level 15, which causes Lucia. She feels a bit of envy as the gap between them grows, reflecting on the system that makes leveling up easier, and ranking higher the stronger a person is, while a drop in rank results in losing all associated benefits. Julia then declares her goal to reach rank B, surprising Leah. She warns Julia not to push too hard, but Julia brushes it off, saying they'll be fine with Kang. Close by, Julia adds that while Kang seems overly focused on the house, he is also deeply concerned about ensuring their safety. Lucia comments teasingly that Julia, who claimed to have no interest in men, seems quite interested in Kang. Julia defensively denies it, explaining that observing another person's movements is essential for mastering the art of fencing. After finishing his reading, Kang suddenly tells the group it's time to move. Surprised by his quick adaptability, the girls follow him. Lucia silently observes Kang, marveling at how he is both a simpleton and an enigma, a mage and a scholar with a raw and wild nature. She concludes that while he piques her curiosity, he might need to be taught how to properly talk to women first. Meanwhile, in a distant temple, a group of knights and a master mage present a mysterious bag to the saint. In the temple, the saint watches closely as the bag opens, revealing its mysterious contents. She examines the items carefully and comments that they are not of this world. The master mage confirms her suspicion, pointing out the exceptional craftsmanship and the unusual imprint on the items. Intrigued, she asks where the bag was found. The master mage explains it was discovered in the Gnoll forest, where heroes once trained, and also mentions the knight who brought it to his attention. The saint directly asks the knight how many people know about the existence of the bag. The knight assures her that only he and the commander of the knights are aware of it, and the commander had ordered him to report directly to her. Satisfied, the saint acknowledges his diligence and praises his efforts, promising to ensure he serves the temple for life. Euphoric, the knight bows in gratitude, but his tone sharpens as he orders him to forget everything about the bag, warning him that if he doesn't, he will die. The knight solemnly agrees and leaves with the priest. Once alone with her assistant, the saint contemplates the meaning of the bag. She orders her assistant to study the letters on the bag and learn the pronunciation from one of the heroes in the temple, emphasizing the importance of keeping their intentions secret. The assistant promises to follow her orders. The saint meditates on the situation, suspecting that the existence of the bag could be a mistake by the gods. She hesitates, questioning whether concealing her discovery is the right action before she can. Deepening her thoughts, her assistant interrupts her with news of a serious incident in the hunter village. The saint is confused. She listens as the assistant explains that Counselor Asus attempted to cover up a brutal murder incident. The bodies of the perpetrator and the fairies were found. The sacrificed fairies, and the villagers claim it was the work of a vengeful spirit. The saint considers the possibility that the supposed vengeful spirit could simply be a survivor seeking revenge. She orders her assistant to get a drawing of the supposed outsider to investigate further. Meanwhile, Kang sits by a campfire at night, studying an illustrated book. His peaceful moment is interrupted when the god watching him comments on the book. Kang jokingly asks if the god likes the book, and the god responds affirmatively. Curious, Kang asks about the whereabouts of the other gods, wanting to avoid them. The god points in one direction, implying that most gods reside near the temples. Kang deduces that the Temple of the Order and the Saint of the Evil Goddess must be nearby and decides that the best course of action is to flee northeast until he is strong enough to face them. Suddenly, Kang feels something unusual. Humans have surrounded the camp. He awakens Cosmos and alerts him to the danger. Cosmos confirms Kang's observation and asks how he can sense the attacker's levels from a distance. Kang explains that gnolls possess a similar ability, leaving Cosmos impressed. Without wasting time, Kang wakes the girls, who spring into action, alarmed by the imminent threat. The leader of the attacking group steps forward. Speaking in their native tongue, Kakmos translates, revealing that the group demands Kang's loot for monopolizing all the orcs in the area. He adds that the attackers promise to spare the noble ladies but will surely kill the rest if they resist. Kang smirks maliciously, mocking the attackers by calling them fancy bastards. The girls shout defiantly, preparing to fight, while Cosmos nervously reminds Kang of the attackers' numerical superiority. However, Kang remains unsettlingly calm, smiling while murmuring something incomprehensible. Cosmos worries and asks if Kang is okay, but Kang ignores the question and strides forward with determination as the tension rises. Kang whispers that they should go together to the afterlife. Kang thinks the opponents are more than he expected, then looks at the girls and feels it will be difficult to fight while protecting them. Suddenly, an idea strikes him, and he shouts that the strong women are here. The opponents are surprised but shoot arrows at them. He ignores the question and moves forward with determination as the tension rises. Kang whispers that they should go together to the afterlife. Kang thinks the opponents are more than he expected. Then he sees the girls and feels it's going to be tough to fight while protecting them. Suddenly, an idea strikes him, and he shouts that the strong women are here. The opponents are surprised but shoot arrows at them. Kang stops them by launching his arrows while he runs towards them and kills the man. People are shocked when the orcs arrive. The orcs fight with them. Everyone is surprised to see the orcs there, except Kang, who smiles. He says that now this is a double experience event. After that, Kang moves at lightning speed to kill them all. The man is scared of Kang and begs for his life. Suddenly, his leader arrives and pushes him back, telling Kang angrily that he will kill him. Kang responds that he is impressed since the man is still standing. Despite Kang hitting him, the man uses his powers to attack Kang. Suddenly, an orc arrives to kill him, but the man's subordinates kill the orc. After killing the orc, everyone joins in and rushes at Kang to kill him. Kang uses his power dagger to kill them, but the leader attacks him from behind. The man smiles after hitting him. Kang tells the man that he's a disgrace to him. The man is scared of him. After that, Kang runs his hand through his body and kills him. Then he sees the girls, notices that both girls are fighting the men and are doing well. He realizes that both girls seem to be busy while killing everyone there after a while. He arrives at the market with the orc noses. He tells the lady that these are enough. She is surprised to see so many orc noses. Kang says he could have gotten more without the nobles. The lady Cosmos tells him he's silly. Since they are almost dying from exhaustion, Kang responds that he knows she's referring to Lusa, who has completed the quest trial. The girls are happy. Cosmos translates and tells Kang that they are saying they leveled up 2 whole levels while hunting with him. Julia is at level 16 and Cosmos is at level 20. Kang smiles and says even a mediocre demon like this guy is at level 20. He wonders how much he has leveled up. Kang is at level 1. He asks God, what's happening in the world? Meanwhile, God is looking far away in a distant galaxy. The world at first is empty. Stars form in the open world, and after a long time, living beings are born. This is a story about a certain god. Living beings soon begin to discover him. People start to pray to God, and thus he becomes a god. Those beings who recite want God's help, and by giving them support, God feels that the reason for his existence is worthwhile. However, over time, more gods appear and help the beings, living in different ways as if it were a competition. As the reciting beings receive the grace of the gods, they progress in various ways. But the countless lives that cannot reconcile struggle violently and die in vain. Time passes. One day, a man in a cave is dying. God approaches him and asks if he wants to live. He responds that yes. God turns him into a baby. After that, God goes to the nearby village. There is an old man with his wife. God gives his blessing with a child. In this way, the particular god is proud of the outcome. After a while, God comes to visit a baby who is now a child. God asks the child how he's doing. The boy looks at her curiously. He knows her because she is the one who turned him into a baby. DOC asks if he wants anything else. The boy trembles and grits his teeth in anger, telling God that he will curse her. He tells her that the woman he loves was taken from him because she made him a baby. God becomes sad and replies that he never asked for a woman. He tells him that he was supposed to stop the wedding and save her himself. God apologizes and leaves. The boy screams and tells him to take responsibility. Meanwhile, God reflects on where he went wrong and how the other gods are doing. On the other hand, a man is paying homage to God and asks for help to have a safe journey. A certain god of war is cheering them on at the same time. God remains confused. God blesses several other lives afterwards. However, each of them resents God. Hundreds of years pass. The world changes over time. More living beings think of God as a tool, so the gods create new rules like heroes, demons, levels, blessings, and curses. The gods adjust to the new order, except for one god. Suddenly, the god notices there is a man named Cain. He has an injured foot, and there is a lady with him, telling him to call the saint right now. She tells him she did something else while he was fighting. The boy feels a lot of pain. The status window shows he is at level 38 with many blessings and curses instantly. God appears and asks the boy if he wants to live. The boy is surprised and says he wants a particular god, warns that he will lose everything. The boy replies that it's better than dying in vain. Thus God smiles, she gives him a blessing. While God gives his blessings, they think about how they are still needed. The boy is healed. He is happy since his body is back to how it was. Suddenly, the boy notices he is at level 1. He is in shock. God reminds him of his warning. He replies that he knows everything, tells God that the important thing is that he is alive. He has to start over from level 1. God calms down after hearing this. After some time, his group mate Kane tells him that he can no longer participate with them because he is not leveling up. The lady apologizes and tells him to forget her. Then they leave him behind. Kane gets angry and says this is a blessing, it is the worst curse. Meanwhile, a certain god is watching him suddenly. Kane smiles and says he was angry, but now he feels nothing. He says his god saved his life. He will stop the resentment and complaints. He tells God he wants to give him advice. God is so curious that he tells him not to give a blessing to anyone again. This is a curse that takes away things more valuable than life. He also tells him that a gift sends him back to level 1 every time, and the day will not come when he uses it again, not even in death. God is shocked. They had been in denial until then, but finally, God admits they are no longer needed in this world again. Time goes by, and God finds a dying boy again. It's Kane, just a simple curiosity for God. She blesses him because he has the hero's curse and is about to die. She may have changed the name of her blessing, but inevitably he would resent her if he knew the truth, now in the present, as God predicted. Kane discovers the secret of the blessing. Suddenly, Kane loudly says this is too bad since the levels have been readjusted. He tells God that it's obvious if you think about it, he just wasted his time exterminating pigs while a certain god is deep in thought. Suddenly, Kane screams that they need to buy some picture books. The gods start to pray, and Kane asks why he is praying. He replies that it's a secret. On the other side, Hongwoo is lying on the ground a bit injured. He sees that the opponents hit his girls before this. He and his team were fighting against the gnolls, killing the gnolls. Hongwoo appreciates them and is happy because they are finally starting to work well together. He tells them they will continue hunting, so they should get used to it. Hongwoo believes the gnolls are at level 4, while he and Kina are at levels 5 and 6, so hunting gnolls should be easy now. He thinks he may have used almost all his money buying them, but now he can save his money. Suddenly, he realizes the gnoll is still alive. Instantly, Hongwoo uses his magical blessing and burns the gnoll. Hongwoo seems happy, and he thinks that the magical blessing he received from Princess Athena already has as much firepower as a unique main character should have. Suddenly, Park Han-young arrives with his guard, telling Hongwoo that he's perfect for fighting and that he was going to lend a hand. If it gets dangerous, Hongwoo replies that if he's going to hunt, he should do it over there since he arrived first. Park Han-young smiles and responds that he doesn't want to do that. Hongwoo thinks as he expected, this guy is useless in his original world. Park Han-young always hung out in groups intimidating people. He also mocked him and called him stupid. Hongwoo thinks that here in this fantasy world, he is the hero and the main character, so no one can stop him now. Then Hongwoo tells him to face him. If he can, Park replies that he's ready for that. Everyone is ready for a fight. Park's slave runs toward them. The girls get scared seeing him. He looks terrifying. Hongwoo tells them to get defensive while he prepares his magical fireball. Suddenly, the enslaved person attacks them 1x1. Hongwoo is shocked to see this. Park tells Hongwoo that it seems he now understands what's happening. Hongwoo is angry with him. He asks if he's using tricks. Park replies that it seems he can't see that his slave's level is simply overwhelmingly higher. Hongwoo seems to understand what is happening now. He is angry with him and asks if he is using tricks. Park responds that it seems he can't see that his slave's level was simply overwhelmingly higher. Park has an evil grin and tells him he already said to come to him if he can. The girls are scared of him. After that, he tells Hongwoo to declare that he will hand over his slaves. Hongwoo is in shock upon hearing this. On the other hand, in the city library, Kane is reading illustrated books. He is looking at a book about and tells God that at least he would look for a powerful weapon since he can't level up. Cosmos tells him he has been reading too many fairy tale books and that weapons like those have already been confiscated. He also tells him that he seems to forget that even nobles, humans, said there was no such thing before leaving, so he might have a chance with a treasure island in the Kang Sea. He says that if it's such a dangerous relic, the excavations would be postponed. He smiles and says it's tempting, Cosmos. He smiles and tells him that the knights of the nation guard the entrances to those relics. Kang asks how strong the knights are. He replies that he can assure him they are stronger than him. Kang gets sad and leaves since he wants some fresh air. After a while, he thinks it's impossible at level 1. He thinks about the knights and remembers he thought knights were tin cans with nothing but glory and bragging. He gets sad and thinks there seems to be no way. A particular god encourages him. Suddenly, an orc arrives and tells him to hand over everything he has. Kang tells him he's feeling down right now. The orc is surprised because Kang is speaking in orcish. He tells him to go away as he releases him, but the orc attacks him because he finds him weak. Kang hits him with gnoll power in the chest, and the orc falls. Kang sits on him and tells him he knows how it feels to have his world destroyed. He's going to hit him again and tell him how there can't be relics to excavate. He is very angry and asks what he will do in this fantasy world. Without hope or dreams, he hits the orc several times. The orc stops him and tells him there's a relic. He is surprised to hear this. The orc tells him there is a relic, so you should stop hitting him. He tells him he's not lying while running his brain to flee. The orc tells him he's not lying as there's a great orc relic. After that, Kang calls him friend and asks if he can tell more about this relic. On the other hand, the orc is crying as there are different dialects in each region. The western continent of fantasy uses unique adjectives like a dragon-level knight or a cowardly monster to express things. Kang then thinks about what the orc means in the middle, meaning they were good enough. After some time, Kang goes somewhere with the orc. Kang wants to ask him something and calls him friend again. The orc stops him from calling him friend. He tells him he should know how lucky he island. He tells him he can't find a human friend who can communicate with him either. The orc replies that he's not stupid since he knows friends don't use violence against each other. Kang smiles. The orc tells him he can guide the way, but he won't be able to enter. Kang agrees with him. The orc tells him he doesn't know. It's been like this since he was born. After that, he tells him that they are here because the relic is in front of them. Kang is surprised and happy to see this. Suddenly, he sees nothing there. When he looks deeply and notices that there is relief, the orc is satisfied that he is leaving here. He thinks that Kang is no longer with him. Meanwhile, Kang is surprised and says he has never seen such a big city. Before the orc is surprised to see him there. He asks how he can be here. Kang replies that he is the one who brought him here. The orc tells him that this is an orc sanctuary. Only those below level 9 can enter. Kang smiles and says it's no problem since he's at level 1. Suddenly, the other orcs throw spears at Kang, but he dodges. There are so many orcs, and one of them tells Kang that he blames himself for entering the orc sanctuary. He tells Kang that putting a foot here means he is at level 9. At most, the orc tells his companions to be careful of Kang because he is very powerful. At the same time, Kang tells them to feel free to stop him. He runs towards the orcs. His eyes shine. They are surprised to see him since Kang is flying on the other side. God is praying for the lives of countless pigs. Kang hides from the orcs and they can't find him due to the smell of his people's blood. On the contrary, Kang tells God that this won't end soon. There are so many orcs that are dead. Kang says that from now on he has been hunting them forever. He feels like he's going in circles trying to find the exit. Suddenly, the other orcs find him and want to capture him so they can eat him. They chase him for a while. Everyone gets tired, but Kang remains full of energy and says it's time to end this. After a while, he kills them all and sits on their bodies. There are also some slimes. Kang is happy because he buys some slimes to gather the orc bodies for him. Kang is waiting to see if any changes have occurred. He looks at his status window and discovers that his slaughter is now rank C, but he receives a new curse massacre. This curse means that the orcs he killed will haunt him in his dreams. He's a bit worried, but then relaxes because he doesn't sleep. Kang says that his curse has become more powerful, and another curse has been added. He tells God that this is too much for him. After that, he tells God that the cost of saving people is a curse, so it seems unfair to him. A god, in particular, replies that he should see it from the orcs' side. Kang thinks he gathered all the people captured by the orcs. Whenever he saw them, they were telling him something. Kang went down and felt he should bring Cosmos with him. After that, Kang calls an orc who was pretending to be dead. He tells him he knows he's alive, so get up. Here he asks the orc how to get out of this place since no matter how far he walks, it always ends up in the same place. The orc tells him that the city has different entrances and exits, and that the center of the city is the only exit. Kang is curious about this and thinks he should go to the center, not the outskirts. After a while, he approaches the point and thinks this must be the exit the orc was talking about. He sees the place and says it doesn't seem special. He thinks he should use magic to open a portal since it's a fantasy world. Suddenly, a light bursts from the point, and an orc tells Kang that he is the human who destroyed their base and asks him to answer his question. Kang thinks the orc's entrance is quite impressive and knows this orc is stronger than him. He tells him he requested to move the orcs, but they didn't. The orc leader tells him that for this reason, he massacred 300,000 orcs and tells Kang that he is the guardian of the city and the orcs and he won't let any human escape who knows the secret of the city. Kang drops his bag and tells him it's better for him since he's facing a guardian. He's ready to fight him and tells him being a guardian means there's treasure to protect. Kang jumps and uses his Ignal power to attack. Kang thinks he will give it his all in a single blow. The orc guardian is also ready to fight. He throws his spear at Kang and their energies clash. Kang realizes this orc is on another level compared to the other orcs. The guardian cuts Kang's hand and injures one of his eyes, Kanshai. The guardian is impressed with him and tells him he instantly dodged a fatal blow. He also tells him he won't stop there and that now he will make him pay for the 300,000 orc lives. He tells Kang he doesn't think he will have an easy death. On the other hand, Kang uses his powers to recover, smiles, and tells the guardian he's a fantastic judge. The Guardian tells Kang that he knows he has something to rely on and asks if he's immortal. Kang responds that it's like something, implying he has a power that keeps him standing. The Guardian dismisses it, claiming it doesn't matter, because this place is the only exit. He tells Kang that whether it takes a century or a millennium, he will trap him in the city until he dies of old age. Kang thinks to himself that it seems he has nothing to do, and begins to contemplate his next move. Meanwhile, Yubo Ra is sitting in her room when Arya enters and mentions that she's at level 7 and is fantastic. Yubo Ra responds that it's all thanks to her blessing. And even though she didn't receive the hero's blessing, through her efforts, she had a noble's blessing from birth. She then looks at her status window, a bit surprised. Arya tells her this proves she is the daughter of the Duke, a noble of rank. Yubora thinks this is fantastic but also sees it as a blessing that gives her an easy pass in life. Arya then tells Yubora that despite her apparently insignificant blessing, she was once severely reprimanded by her mother. For thinking he didn't deserve it, Arya fiercely challenges him to repeat it. This to the countless people who sacrificed everything to gain such blessings. Yubora reflects that blessings come with responsibilities and thanks Arya for giving him such a good lesson. After that, Arya asks Yubora if he thinks the hero Hangu will be okay. Yubora asks if Arya likes him, and she replies that she's not sure. Just then, someone knocks on the door announcing that the saint is coming to meet Yubo Ra. Arya is surprised to hear this, and the saint enters, apologizing for visiting at such a late hour. The saint greets Yubo Ra and mentions that she came to chat. She tells Arya to bring some tea, and after a while, they start their conversation. The saint asks Yubora if he has any problems living in fantasy. Yubora replies that he hasn't had too many issues. The saint expresses that she's glad to hear Yubora has adapted well to this new world. Then the saint changes the subject to the heroes who are competing against each other right now. She expresses concern about the problems caused by this competition and asks Yubo Ra to let her know if he sees any signs before the heroes fall too far. Arya and Yubo are surprised. The saint continues explaining that soon, corrupt heroes seduced by their blessings will appear. Yubo Ra, now thinking about Kang, wonders if he is safe and if he has returned home. Suddenly, the saint asks if he knows someone named Kang. Yubo Ra, shocked, spills the tea. She asks why the saint is asking about him. The saint replies that she knows him a little as a classmate. The saint insists that Yubo Ra tell her everything, acting like an older sister. Yubo Ra is surprised by the saint's tone. Later, in her room, the saint is thinking about Yubo Ra and Kang. She knows that Yubo Ra is very interested in Kang since she talked about him for hours. The saint holds Kang's badge and reflects on how he is the one who refused to be a hero and was sent back by the goddess. She worries that if it gets out that Kang did not return the trust of the heroes, it could damage the relationship with the gods, bringing their faith to the lowest level. The saint considers the possibility that it wouldn't be a problem if Kang died. All she would have to do is hide the evidence. But she is a bit worried about whether Kang is still alive. Meanwhile, a certain arrogant god of benevolence is watching her. The saint, sensing this, is surprised and starts to gasp. The god of heroes knows their locations because he gave them the blessings. The saint realizes that if she can't find Kang, her plan could be compromised. The saint thinks she must act quickly. The saint realizes that if she can't find Kang, her plan might be compromised. The saint believes she must act quickly to find him and erase all evidence of his existence. Her most urgent task is to launch a search net without anyone knowing. Meanwhile, God observes the saint spying on her plan and leaves silently. Kang continues his intense battle with the Guardian. Orc determined to fight to his last breath, the Guardian asks how long he plans to endure this useless fight, to which Kang replies that he will keep fighting until he dies, constantly trying to defeat him. His battle continues, but Kang still can't overcome the Guardian's strength, while the Orc's spear strikes him repeatedly. In the midst of the battle, a boy named Bruce arrives, announcing that he is level 9. Bruce was the temporary leader of a group of indigenous people who had been rescued from the Orc hideout. However, Kang can't understand what Bruce is saying. Just when the situation gets tense, a girl enters the scene, causing Bruce to flee in fright. Kang tells the girl she can do whatever she wants while he stays focused on his plans to defeat the Orc Guardian. The next morning, Kang, still deep in thought, believes he has come up with a good plan to defeat the Guardian. However, he notices the girl sleeping nearby, which intrigues him. The god warns Kang to mind his own business, but Kang remains determined, thinking that the priority is still to defeat the Guardian of the Ruins. He begins to meditate, preparing for the upcoming battle, believing that using his gnoll powers will be the key to defeating the Guardian. Kang continues to practice tirelessly, showcasing his progress to the god, asking if his movements are similar to the Guardian's fencing, and the god confirms that they are. Kang feels confident after practicing all day and night. As a result, his status window updates, and his blessing level increases, leaving him with a sense of achievement. However, his joy is short-lived when he notices that his curse level has also increased. The rise in the hero's curse means that the goddess has taken notice of him. This worries Kang, but despite the curse, he stays focused and decides it's time to make his move against the Orc Guardian. Once again, Kang approaches the ruins where the Guardian resides, and the Guardian, upon seeing Kang return, expresses his surprise, asking if Kang is ready to die again. But Kang replies that this time he won't flee. The Guardian seems skeptical, but Kang tells him he doesn't care if the Guardian believes him. The Orc offers to show Kang the ruins, but Kang quickly realizes that the Guardian has set a trap, sarcastically remarking that it's shameful for such a great warrior to rely on traps in combat. As Kang observes, he notes that the Guardian can't escape the ruins, so he formulates a plan to use that to his advantage. With a bit of strategy, Kang plans to gain the upper hand. He advances through the ruins, but when he arrives, he finds nothing. The Guardian reveals that this place was once a training ground for heroes, but not for orcs, as their race was not chosen by any god. He tells Kang that humans became arrogant and careless, which allowed them to take control of this place. The Guardian also explains that the ruins are filled with blessings but were also designed to prevent powerful beings from entering. However, the Guardian believes that as long as he is alive, it will be impossible to rebuild his city. That's why he intends to kill Kang. He smiles while listening to the Guardian's words, noting that he is ready for the next battle. Kang tells the Guardian he wants to ask him a question before they fight. The Guardian asks if there is treasure in the ruins. The Guardian replies that there are weapons scattered for the heroes who just graduated from the training camp. Kang is surprised and thinks about what could be done to that vile goddess with beginner-level weapons. He believes he is doomed. Suddenly, the Guardian jumps and tells Kang that the conversation ends here. He says the resentment of 300,000 comrades will be settled here. Kang instantly pulls out his dagger and fights the Guardian, hitting him several times with his dagger. The Guardian is surprised and thinks Kang has improved a lot in just one day. Suddenly, the Guardian notices Kang moving toward the exit. He runs to chase him, and angrily tells him he'll never let him escape from the ruins. He tries to hit him with his spear, but misses. Kang saves himself and tells the Guardian he has been thinking about how to get out of the ruins since yesterday. Meanwhile, a portal appears. The Guardian is surprised to see it, and Kang also looks at the portal, realizing this is the exit. Kang feels happy and says that setting this up peacefully without fighting was a good plan. He admits he didn't think he'd disappear at all. He says he can't level up anyway, and doesn't need to work hard. It's enough for him as long as he can get the treasure. The god tells him the direction of the treasure. Kang sees it and thinks there could be a place like that behind all the destroyed buildings. He believes there would really be treasure there. After a while, he finds the treasure and becomes happy. He holds a treasure sword and the god tells him it's the sacred sword of a beginner hero. The sacred sword has a simple appearance with no decorations, but is a powerful weapon filled with divine energy that shines brightly. Kang knows it's a weapon for beginners but is curious why it was left like this. Kang begins to wield the sword. God tells him that the sacred sword can only be wielded by heroes. Suddenly, Kang feels the sword becoming heavy. God tells him he can hold it as a hero. Kang responds that this means the sword hates cursed heroes. He breaks the sword with his dagger, saying he can't use it, so it's fair that other heroes can't either. God admires him for his justice, knows it's a beginner's weapon, but is curious about why it was left like this. Kang begins to wield the sword. God tells him that the sacred sword can only be wielded by heroes. Suddenly, Kang feels the sword becoming heavy. God tells him he can wield it as a hero. Kang replies that this means the sword hates cursed heroes. He breaks the sword with his dagger. Kang says he can't use it, so it's only fair that other heroes can't either. God admires him for his fairness. Then Kang destroys each sword there. He picks up the last one and is about to break it, when suddenly, he feels that this sword is lighter than the others. He realizes that this sword does not affect the curse. Kang says in that case he will destroy everything else. He destroys everything in the treasure except the last sword. After that, he looks at his status window, where the cursed holy sword is added. Kang gets angry upon receiving the curse of the holy sword on the other side. Yang Moyen sees Choi in the temple. Choi checks his status window and finds a new blessing. He has so many blessings without any curse. He thinks that if this is the reward, he'll have to endure it. Even if he's tired, he realizes this is what they mean. It was with God's interest, since he received the blessing in just a few days. Choi believes that the next tournament will be an easy victory for him. At this rate of growth, he thinks he'll prove it to everyone by winning the Sacred Sword prize. On the contrary, a hero and a demon king, a prince and a princess, knights, wicked women, and even tyrants appear as usual in romantic fantasies, so anyone is fine. Yang Myung is thinking about all this. Suddenly she screams and asks why she has to fight. The boy tries to calm her. She feels disappointed because she dreamed of being protected by a handsome knight, but instead she has a shield. A, who is shy and silly and generally ranked 4th. Shield B, who is selfish and cunning, and generally ranked 5th. And Shield C, who is a concept fanatic, listens well and is ranked 7th. She sighs and thinks she only has these 3 shields. Suddenly, she apologizes for being harsh. The boy asks why she called them. She replies that there's an important matter, and she called them for that. She tells them there's secret information. Soon they will choose a hero to send to the academy. The boy gets angry. She tells them she's going to enter the academy, and that her true fantasy life begins there. Suddenly, a boy who is Shield C bows in front of her and asks if everyone who wishes to enter is allowed. Yang Million responds that priority is given to heroes with high overall scores and that only 4 people will be selected in total. The boy tells her there will be bloodshed within the faction but assures her that she has nothing to worry about after that. Another boy asks why she is sharing this information with them. Yang Million responds that she wants them to enter together. She also tells them she's serious about this. Shield B gets angry and tells her he doesn't want to clean up her mess with the prince on the white horse, with whom she is dating. Yang Mi-jian promises him she won't do it, and if she breaks her promise, she'll grant him a wish. The boy is surprised to hear this. She also tells them that the gods are listening to everything. Suddenly, Shield A steps forward and tells Yang Mi-yan that he will come as long as she likes it. The third boy also agrees with her. After that, the second boy says that no matter how much he thinks about it, he feels like he's being tricked, but he also agrees with her. Yami-John gets happy and thanks everyone. On the other hand, in the ruins, Kang is very angry after receiving the curse, saying they can't curse him just for breaking a couple of swords. After that, he reads about the curse of the Holy Sword. He holds the sword holy and says that if resistance to destruction is included, even with a defective Holy Sword, then what should he do? Meanwhile, the god expresses condolences to the creator. Kang tells her that the creator probably didn't know a hero would break the Holy Sword. He thinks that of the countless holy swords, only one remains, a holy sword that becomes stronger through a curse. After that, he tells the god they need to leave there, and arrives at the place where he believes the orc disappeared. He asks how to activate the portal and suddenly notices that the orc guardian appears again, running toward him to kill him. Kang feels that this time many things have changed. He's ready for the fight. He tells the orc guardian that if he leaves the ruins, he will start to age. The guardian is about to attack him, but Kang is also ready and says it's time to test his holy sword. He strikes the orc guardian, and the guardian goes flying. He tells him that now it's his turn to cut off his arm. The orc guardian says that the price of consuming his youth is very high. He uses his powers and heals his arm, telling Kang that he's been ignoring the deaths of 300,000 of his comrades and defending his youth because of his dirty tricks. He jumps and makes a circle with his powers to attack Kang. Kang is aware of his movements. The orc guardian attacks him, but Kang cuts his neck with the holy sword. Kang tells him that a day has passed, but he hasn't progressed. Kang says he doesn't need to use tricks, explaining that he only used dirty tricks when he was weaker than his opponent. The god tells him that the fight isn't over yet. Suddenly, Kang notices that the orc guardian is still alive, regenerating his head. The orc guardian comes at him again, but Kang grabs his face and slams him into the ground. Kang thinks that this time the guardian will surely die, but the orc guardian is still alive, now angry. Kang declares that the guardian will die if he throws him out of the ruins. Suddenly, the orc guardian tells Kang that he is lost and begs him not to throw him out of the ruins. He says he will do anything Kang asks. Kang is surprised by the guardian's sudden plea. The guardian tells him he knows Kang wants to leave this place and offers to move the city entrance closer to the holy sword. He adds that only a hero can wield the holy sword. Kang waves the sword and asks if he means this one. The orc guardian is shocked and says he already knows that. Notices that the orc guardian is still alive. Regenerating its head, the orc guardian comes at him again, but Kang grabs its face and slams it against the ground. Kang thinks this time the guardian will surely die, but the orc guardian is still alive. Now annoyed, Kang declares that the guardian will die if he throws it. Outside the ruins, suddenly the orc guardian tells Kang that he is lost and begs him not to throw him out of the ruins, saying he will do anything Kang asks. Kang is surprised by the guardian's sudden plea. The guardian tells him he knows what Kang wants, to leave this place, and offers to move the entrance of the city closer to the sacred sword, adding that only a hero can wield the sacred sword. Kang waves the sword and asks if he means this. The orc guardian is shocked and says he already knows that. Kang is the hero. Kang then checks the guardian's status window and sees that the guardian is at level 8 and also carries the hero's curse. Kang is surprised to discover this. The orc guardian explains that this usually happens when someone kills a hero. Kang then asks about the curse of the ruins. The orc guardian explains that it's like a mission. If he's in the ruins, he becomes immortal. Also reveals what the final strong opponent is to test new heroes. Kang replies that this means he is not a guardian for humans, the guardian. Orc clarifies that he never claimed to be the guardian of humans, but rather the guardian of orcs, protecting his own home. Kang tells him that he's still lost. The orc guardian starts to cry. Kang comments that even the demon he knows has weak tear glands, but the orc guardian remains a challenge. The orc guardian asks Kang if he's leaving. Kang replies that he said he wouldn't let him go. The orc guardian tells Kang it would be best for him to leave immediately. Kang also wants to get away from this place as soon as possible, but finds it hard to trust the orc after thinking it over a bit. Kang tells the Guardian to send the humans back. The orc Guardian agrees and says the city must not be known to humans, but admits he cannot refuse Kang's request. Kang encourages the humans as they prepare to leave. Everyone remains silent, and some of the humans support Kang on his way. The portal appears, and Kang feels a sense of familiarity, comparing it to when the goddess sends him back. He begins to worry that he might be in danger. Again, Kang asks the Orc Guardian if he should return here and what he should do next. The Orc Guardian responds that if Kang speaks to the sacred sword, it will listen to him. Kang finds the orc unreliable, but the goddess assures him it's safe. The goddess insists again that it's safe, and Kang says he believes her. Kang steps into the portal, and everyone crosses to the other side. Kang finds the new place strange and opens the portal, again sending the humans back to the city. He then tells the goddess that she said this was a safe place. Looking around, he notices pieces of clothing on the bed and comments that a woman could have lived here. Nobles with a sacred sword observe that the sacred sword is displayed as decoration on the wall, which makes him realize that the owner of this room is not an ordinary person. The god tells him again that it is a safe place, but Kang gets annoyed, responding that this means danger will probably come later. The god confirms his suspicion. Kang says they need to leave this place quickly. Suddenly, he notices something is wrong. He sees his bag in the room and wonders why it's there. Meanwhile, in the hunter's village, Princess Athena is teaching her students. She says the village has recently been in a state of chaos due to many incidents, so they must be careful not to disturb the residents. The heroes seem curious about her words. Princess Athena warns them to be cautious and not to disturb the saint, while a villager accompanies the saint to the place where an incident occurred earlier. The saint observes the area and comments that it seems to have cleared up. The man suddenly bows and apologizes to her. The saint explains that she came here because she heard about a mysterious massacre. Then she asks the man if it's true that the old onion man was imprisoned here. The man confirms it, and the saint asks him if he knows the value of the old onion man. The man seems confused, and the saint assures him that it's okay whether he knows or not. She explains that the old onion man is the guardian of the flame, despite his weakness in direct combat. The animals he raises are incredibly strong, especially the phoenix, which earned him the title of Guardian of the Flame. The saint continues, saying that disturbing the peace and harmony between humans and fairies is unacceptable, and provoking a war is unforgivable. However, since the person in charge has forgiven the matter, it will not be further involved. The man deeply thanks her. Then the saint asks the man about the person responsible. The man describes him as someone with short black hair, similar to the heroes who visited today. Surprised, the saint asks for the hero's name, but the man cries and admits he doesn't know anything else. The saint concludes that now they must focus on showing the town to the heroes. Her assistant notes that the saint looks worried, thinking about Kang. The saint admits she wonders how Kang survived, but she knows it must be him. She says no matter how many blessings he has, it should have been impossible for him to defeat the gnolls. At level 1, she compares him to her heroes, noting that even at their best, her heroes couldn't face 2 gnolls at level 1. She marvels at how Kang managed the feat. The saint wonders which god blessed him. Since all the gods are currently in the temple, her assistant suggests that if the spirit and the owner of the bag are the same person, it confirms the connection. The saint replies that she can still control the heroes, so it's fine. She considers it dangerous to take the heroes to the ruins, but decides she won't be caught. Immediately, she adds that whoever knows Kang's name is dead and that she has concrete evidence. Then the assistant mentions the information leak from the tournament. The saint replies that she already knows, and that she's just pretending not to know. She says managing data is everyone's responsibility. Changing the subject, the saint mentions that hero Jung Myun doesn't seem to be improving. Cheerfully, she smiles and says she's not sure why. Jung Myun wants to go to the academy but promises to do better to prepare her for the tournament. Meanwhile, it starts to rain, and the students begin to get annoyed. Choi observes the situation and notes that everything feels too relaxed, as if everyone were on a picnic. He sees no reason to worry about the tournament. Suddenly, Choi notices someone standing in the darkness. Alarmed, he tells the other heroes to call Princess Etna. Suspecting that the nudes might appear, they immediately realize that the person in the darkness is hero Han-woo, who seems slightly injured. Choi approaches him and comments that he looks like a wreck. Surprised to see them there, Han-woo tells Choi that his injury is a medal of honor from victory. Surprised, Choi asks for clarification. Han-woo explains that it is a symbol of success from a real battle, something unthinkable for the others. Han-woo challenges Choi to a duel if he doesn't believe him. Choi accepts, saying he'll show Han-woo the difference in their skills. He draws his sword, confident in his abilities, even knowing that Choi is at a higher level and possesses the blessing of magic. He uses his revenge blessing and decides not to lose the fight. Just as the fight between Han-woo and Choi is about to begin, Arya intervenes and urges them to stop. She acknowledges that she can't prevent the fight entirely, but reminds Choi that Han-woo is injured and it wouldn't be a fair fight. Han-woo is surprised to see Arya intervene, but Choi agrees, stating that he doesn't want excuses later and it must be a fair fight. Suddenly, the saint arrives, her presence catching attention. She reprimands Han-woo for causing trouble outside the temple and offers to heal him to ensure fairness in the fight. Then she turns to Choi, encouraging him to finish it quickly. Confident and ready, Choi mocks Han-woo, claiming that now everyone will witness the skills he honed in real battles. Han-woo, lost in his thoughts, remembers the promise he made to himself after witnessing Park Han-young's betrayal and the sorrow of the women who were taken. He swore to become stronger and never let his guard down again. While Han-gu prepares, his status window updates suddenly, noting that he has received the Revenge Blessing, a unique ability that strengthens him against stronger enemies that have been marked for revenge. He briefly thinks of his targets, Park Han-young and Choi Gang-man. Driven by his determination, Han-gu advances, declaring that he is the protagonist of this world. However, his confidence wavers momentarily when an apparently simple slime surpasses and defeats him, demonstrating a level far higher than his. His status window updates again, revealing a strange curse that limits his growth. Confused, Han-gu wonders how such a curse could have befallen him and why Arya, who should know, never warned him. Accepting the situation as the fate of the protagonist, Han-gu decides to fight against it as the battle begins. He launches a fireball at Choi, who easily defends himself with his superior speed and agility thanks to his speed blessing. Their powers clash, creating a spectacle for the spectators. Choi acknowledges Han-woo's improvement in recent days but warns him that his magic is still insufficient. Determined, Han-woo is ready to prove his worth. He gathers his energy and prepares a massive fireball. Choi dismisses it as an ineffective attack and effortlessly dodges it. However, when the fireball explodes, a second, more powerful explosion follows, catching Choi by surprise. This sudden display of magical growth surprises everyone present. Choi barely manages to evade the attack, using all his agility. He mockingly tells Han-gu that landing a single hit won't guarantee victory. Han-woo, frustrated but determined, replies that the fight isn't over yet. As the battle intensifies, Choi's sword begins to glow, signaling a final attack. At the same time, Han-woo charges another enormous fireball, pushing his limits to the max. Just as their final attacks collide, a massive explosion erupts, engulfing both fighters in its aftermath. As the dust settles, both Han-woo and Choi are on the ground, visibly shaken and injured, the saint watching the chaos. She orders her assistant to clear the area immediately. Although the fight ends without a clear winner, it leaves everyone in awe of the power and determination shown by both fighters. Nick finds himself in a dangerous situation and wonders why the Guardian would send him to such a dangerous place. Suddenly, Cosmos appears, surprising the king. Cosmos casually comments that he had initially planned to leave the day before but missed the opportunity. This was due to the unexpected arrival of someone he absolutely had to avoid. When the king asks if it was the saint who appeared, Cosmos grimly responds that if the saint had arrived, he would already be dead. Instead, he reveals that the person who arrived was none other than Prince Alsace, the first heir to the throne of the Swordmaster and one of the 3 greatest knights of the kingdom. He explains that Prince Alsace is part of the second generation of powerful beings reminiscent of the young days of the King of Night, a legendary queen monster. As the king changes his clothes, Cosmos continues to warn him. He informs the king that the prince has expressed interest in meeting him, but he must avoid revealing anything about Cosmos. Being a paladin blessed by the saint, Prince Alsace could immediately perceive Cosmos's demonic nature. The king, unconcerned, tries to downplay the importance, but Cosmos gets frustrated and insists that the king take this seriously. Their conversation is interrupted when a group of noble ladies arrives, much to Cosmos's irritation. He sarcastically comments on the king's popularity among women, but the king suspects they have come to ask for help to level up. Once again, Cosmos reprimands the king for trivializing others' feelings. He warns that this attitude will leave him single. The women, however, express their sadness, thinking that the king had left without letting them pay him for his help. As the chatter continues, Cosmos notices that the king is cursed again, and asks if King killed a warrior or did something reckless. The king denies it, but Cosmos warns him that if he stays in the city, his life could be at risk. When Cosmos suggests leaving, the king grabs him by the neck, demanding who would translate for him if he left. Cosmos proposes finding someone enslaved but blessed with the gift of tongues, suggesting that with enough money they could acquire such a person. The king, growing more frustrated, accuses Cosmos of planning to abandon him from the start. Their discussion is interrupted by the women who have arrived dressed elegantly. Cosmos mocks the king's ignorance, hinting that the women might have romantic intentions. The king awkwardly guesses it could be love, but quickly dismisses it as naive. When the women suggest going out for an excursion, the king reluctantly agrees and Cosmos joins them, considering it safer to stay close to the king while Prince Alsus is in the city. The group wanders through the city, and the women dress Kang in noble attire, leaving him uncomfortable. They finally arrive at a large mansion, and Kang feels increasingly uneasy, not knowing what is happening inside the mansion. He sees a figure standing by a window. It's Prince Alsace. The prince approaches Kang with a warm but authoritative demeanor, addressing him in the universal language thanks to the blessing of language. He bows respectfully, surprising Kang and the women, and introduces himself. The prince explains that he is deeply grateful to Kang for subduing the orc guardian and rescuing the noble daughters, calling it a great service to the kingdom. Kang tries to downplay it as a natural act, but the prince expresses his curiosity about the skills that allowed Kang to defeat the orc guardian, a feat that had worried even the most experienced warriors. Then the prince makes a bold request, asking Kang to train with him. Eager to see the strength that achieves such a remarkable feat, Kang freezes, surprised by the prince's request. Prince Alsace quickly apologizes, admitting he may have gotten too excited about the presence of his guest. Despite the friendly tone, the tension in the room is palpable as Kang contemplates how to handle this unexpected challenge. Kang feels overwhelmed by the grand banquet prepared in the mansion. Noticing Kang's astonishment, Prince Alsace suggests they continue their conversation during the meal. Kang begins to eat enthusiastically, devouring a surprising amount of food. He is overwhelmed by the grand banquet prepared in the mansion. The prince notices Kang's astonishment and suggests he continue their conversation during the meal. Kang starts eating enthusiastically, devouring a surprising amount of food. The prince, amused, comments that he feels a bit envious of Kang's apparently endless appetite. Embarrassed, Kang apologizes for eating so much, but the prince reassures him, saying it's better to enjoy the food than let it go to waste. As they talk, the prince curiously asks how Kang received the warrior's curse. Kang hesitates, but eventually explains that he once taught a lesson to a warrior who was harassing. How Kang received the warrior's curse. Kang hesitates, but finally explains that he once taught a lesson to a warrior who harassed an innocent fairy. Upon hearing this, Prince Ailes connects the dots, realizing this could explain why Kang received the fairy's blessing. Intrigued, Prince Ailes asks if Kang remembers what the warrior was like. He shrugs, admitting that he hit him so hard in the face that he can't remember any details. Laughing, Prince Ailes suggests they could investigate warriors with facial injuries to narrow down the suspects. Then Prince Ailes changes the subject, revealing the true reason he invited Khan. He explains that the Kingdom's Guild investigations point to Khan as the person responsible for hunting most of the orcs lately. Alarmed, Kang asks if he did something wrong, but Prince Ailes quickly reassures him, stating that Kang has solved a major problem for the kingdom. He explains that the orcs from the plains have mysteriously disappeared as if by magic, and Kang's actions have greatly benefited the kingdom. Kang admits he might have exaggerated about hunting orcs, but never expected it to have such an impact. Prince Ailes praises him, saying he is eager to learn more about him. Later that night, as they leave the mansion, Prince Ailes confesses that his curiosity about Kang has grown. Although he initially planned to end their meeting with a simple thank you for rescuing the nobles, he now wants to understand Kang's skills firsthand. He proposes a friendly duel. Kang reluctantly accepts, thinking it will be a quick exchange. As the duel begins, Prince Ailes thanks Kang for accepting the challenge, promising to hold back. Unsure of how to handle the situation, Kang decides not to use his sacred sword, and instead pulls out a small dagger gifted by the fairies. Upon seeing the dagger, Prince Ailes is astonished and praises Kang for possessing such a rare and powerful artifact. Kang downplays it, saying he learned to use it through trial and error. Prince Ailes is impressed by Kang's humility and ingenuity, commenting that Kang's mastery of such a dangerous tool is remarkable, especially at level 1. The duel begins with Prince Ailes allowing Kang the first strike. Kang decides to test all his strength and activates the blessing of outsiders and fairies. A radiant aura surrounds him, stunning everyone as Kang attacks. His dagger clashes with Prince Ailes' sword, creating a blinding flash of light. The impact is so strong that it breaks Prince Ailes' sword. Realizing what he has done, Kang gets nervous, worried he might have accidentally killed Prince Ailes. He looks for an escape, seeing an opportunity, and runs out of the mansion without saying a word, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Meanwhile, Prince Ailes sits on the ground holding the remains of his broken sword, smiling in awe at Kang's absurd strength. Reflecting on the duel, he admits that his reaction was too slow to counter such an overwhelming attack. Even though his sword was destroyed, he is deeply impressed by Kang's power and potential. Shaking his head, he murmurs that Kang really is something else. Suddenly, the girls approach the prince. They ask him if he is okay. He responds that he's fine. After that, he gets up and says the world is very vast. Lusa tells him she believes Kang is also surprised. Julia is also shocked when he immediately runs away. The prince. Elsa says everything happens because of his weakness, almost making the savior of the kingdom guilty of an assassination attempt. After that, he tells the ladies he wants to apologize to Kang and Lusa needs his help. Julia tells him she would have gone to the motel. After this, the ladies also go somewhere. Lusa tells Prince Alsace to wait for them. Meanwhile, Prince Alsace seems calm and is excited while remembering when his mother first told him about the sword. On the other side, the saint returns to her room. She asks the house assistant if anyone entered her room without permission today. As always, he replies that no one did, except for the inspector and the maids. The saint knows there is an intruder since there are footprints on the floor. The house assistant warns her and tells her to stay away from there, since a killer could be hiding. The saint sees him and asks if he is saying there are killers leaving footprints. After that, she tells them that no one will enter until she says so. She sees that the can bag is also missing. She is surprised and thinks that of all things, only the bag is missing. It's fine if the other things get stolen, since they can be replaced, but the can bag cannot be returned. She is a little worried. She believes the clear evidence that God lied has disappeared. A certain presumptuous god of goodness asks her what the commotion is about. She replies that Kang's bag has been stolen. The saint is worried and says that someone entered her room and stole it. That's the only thing they took. A certain boastful god of goodness scolds her, saying she should have destroyed it earlier. The saint responds to God not to test her faith. A certain boastful god of goodness is uncomfortable and asks what she will do. She replies that she will have to let fate decide. A certain presumptuous god of goodness asks her if there is any way to find it. The saint tells him that instead of asking how, he should look for it himself. A certain god, as presumptuous of goodness, leaves with a frustrated expression. After that, the saint is so worried, and her head hurts just thinking about Kang. Suddenly, a magic ball asks the saint if she is okay. She tells the ball to send a message to Prince Alsace in the fairy kingdom after a while. The house assistant comes to Prince Alsace and tells him that the saint is looking for him. Prince Alsace thinks she's calling him. Because he forgot to inform her, he tells his assistant to leave the destroyed fountain and the rest to her, and then he leaves. He arrives at his room and sits in front of the magic ball. He calls the saint, and she asks him about his investigation into the disappearance of the orcs. Prince Alsace tells her he will report on the study's findings. He thinks executing his plans for the orc house with the warriors will be challenging. He also tells her that the number of orcs has drastically decreased and doesn't seem to be increasing. The saint asks if he finds the reason. He tells her that according to what they discover from an orc they capture and interrogate through the blessing of language, it seems a demon has taken their habitat. The saint is surprised to hear this. Prince Alsace tells her that the information has yet to be confirmed as true. She tells him they should strengthen surveillance on the demons doing such things. She also thanks him for his efforts. After that, Prince Alsace tells her he has a suggestion he wants to make. On the other hand, in the motel, Kang tells Cosmos to start packing his things immediately. Since they have to flee from there, he tells him that if they get caught, they will be executed for the attempted murder of the prince. Cosmos is shocked to hear this. Kang tells him he can escape quickly, but Cosmos says he's worried about getting involved with him. Kang pulls out the holy sword and tells him to tell the orc to open the portal quickly. Suddenly, the portal appears. Cosmos is surprised to see this, since he doesn't believe Kang is using any kind of magic. Kang tells him he doesn't have time to explain, so he should meet him at the north gate of the city. He also tells him he won't wait for him long. After that, he enters the portal. Kang is very angry at this moment. On the other hand, Prince Alsace tells the saint everything that a warrior attacked a fairy. He tells the saint that he knows nothing about the name or appearance except that his face was so injured that his original face could not be recognized. The saint tells him she has someone in mind, mentioning that it could be Hanwoo. Even for him, it won't be easy to cause such a disturbance. Prince Alsace tells her he has appointed inspectors to ensure that the expelled warriors don't cause problems. After that, she tells him to allow it and that he should reward the cursed citizens generously. She also says that the warrior's fault is the lady's responsibility. She tells him he should take care of this, but she urgently has to go to the fairy kingdom, which complicates things for Prince Alsace. He understands her and tells her he will reward them so they don't feel disappointed. After that, they finish their meeting. Prince Alsace stands near the window and thinks about Kang since he wants him in his kingdom. He thinks this level of armor won't be enough to achieve it. Kang is throwing things from the portal. The humans are waiting for him. After that, he comes out of the portal. Now he's in the orc city. Bruce is happy to see him. Kang tells him they need people. Bruce asks what kind of people they need. He tells him they need people to move their things. Suddenly, the Green Guardian arrives and asks Kang what's going on. Kang tells him that from now on, these people will move their things, so don't kill them. He replies to Kang that this place is not his warehouse. Kang responds that he has to transfer the things he has ordered through the sword to the exit. The Guardian tells him that he has experienced many types of humiliation before, but this is the first time he feels weaker. This makes him angry. Kang tells him he will take this as a compliment after a while. Cosmos also arrives at the north gate of the city. Kang arrives there too and tells him to escape quickly. Cosmos is surprised and asks him to explain the situation. Then he decides. Kang tells him they must run as far away as possible from the ladies. Cosmos asks him if it's related to receiving the warrior's curse. Kang agrees with him. Cosmos seems worried and tells him they should head north as soon as possible if he wants to escape. Kang asks what's in the north. Cosmos tells him the largest slave market of the western continent is in the north. He also tells him that he will find an enslaved person who possesses the blessing of language. Kang is smiling, which annoys Cosmos. Kang tells him that the fact that he's not running away is fascinating. Cosmos gets angry and tells him he's the one who took all his things. Suddenly, Kang grabs Cosmos and starts running. After a while in the jungle, Cosmos is hungry. He wants to eat something. Then Kang says something to the holy sword and pulls out food from the portal. Cosmos is surprised to see this. They eat the food. After eating, Kang says it's not as delicious as what he had with the prince. Cosmos tells him that no matter how he looks at it, he doesn't understand. He's never heard of magic that prepares meals and washes the dishes. Kang doesn't respond to him. Cosmos gets enraged. Kang tells him they have to move now. He tells him to stop complaining since they're almost there. Kang is surprised. After a while, they arrive at the slave market. The market is very big. Cosmos tells him to stop acting like a villager and come quickly. Cosmos tells him there will be problems if the check is too strict in cities like this, where the population is large. Kang tells him this is a strange city. Cosmos tells him he won't escape, for now, so first give him back his things. Kang tells him he can't leave until they find an enslaved person who has the blessing of language, and Cosmos agrees with him. After that, he tells the sacred sword to send him the old brown bag that's in the back. After that, the portal gives him the bag. Cosmos thinks the sword seems to be the medium. This guy must have learned something beyond magic. He thinks about the sword. The sacred sword is the magical sword. He tells Kang to hand over the swords because he wants to see the sword. He holds the sword and says it doesn't seem to have a spell. Externally, it just looks like an ordinary iron sword. Suddenly, Cosmos is surprised. By the sword, he realizes it's the sacred sword. Kang tells him he didn't know the protection had been set up against theft in this. Cosmos is angry with him and tells him he can't give the sacred sword to a demon. He says he should have known it when he handed it over so quickly. After that, he asks Kang how he can hold the sacred sword. Kang replies that this is a defective product. Cosmos tells him that the weapon is also a defective product, just like its owner. Kang gets furious upon hearing this. After lurking around the slave market, Kang asks if he is okay, since he seems fatigued. Cosmos tells him he can't be okay in front of a sacred sword. Meanwhile, an enslaved demon is listening to them. The owners in the slave market are selling their slaves. Suddenly, Ken says this is off. Cosmos doesn't understand. Kang tells him he imagined the slave owner's person mistreating the slave and a man of justice, saving the slave. Cosmos wants to say he's talking nonsense and that he has no high expectations for someone like him who almost killed the prince. He tells him to think normally at least. Suddenly, Kang sees the man burning his slave. Kang asks Cosmos what's going on. He replies that it's a classic narrative that produces sympathy. He also tells him that after a performance like that, the weak-minded get inspired to buy enslaved people. Cosmos tells him that by looking at that enslaved person, their skin looks really good for someone who's being mistreated. Kang is shocked. Cosmos tells him not to be fooled and just come over here. Kang thinks there are 4 types of enslaved people sold in the market: humans, fairies, dwarves, and mermaids. There are slight differences in the price depending on the type of enslaved person, but more than their appearance or skills, the most critical attribute was their level. After that, Cosmos tells Kang that since they have no place to go now, they should take a stroll around here later on their own. Kang asks him about the destination. He replies that he knows some shops that only deal with high-end enslaved people. After a while, Kang arrives at the inn. There's a fairy there who welcomes him, high-end enslaved individuals. After a while, Kang arrives at the inn. There's a fairy there who welcomes him. Cosmos tells him that she is looking for an enslaved person with the blessing of the tongue. She asks him about the level of the enslaved person. Cosmos tells him that the rest doesn't matter. She wants an enslaved person with the blessing of the tongue. Suddenly, Kang speaks and says that the enslaved person should be someone who can follow him on his journey. Cosmos tells him that such an enslaved person doesn't exist, but she will try. The lady means that they have an enslaved person. Cosmos is surprised to hear this and tells Kang they buy the enslaved person who will suffer because of him. After that, the lady takes them to the slave. Upon arriving there, Kang sees that there are some high-end slaves and asks Cosmos why they didn't escape from here. He responds that all slaves carry the curse or mark of a person without exception. He also tells him to look at the status windows of the slaves. After that, the lady shows them the slave. She is a beautiful lady but a demon. Kang finds it fascinating. It's rare to see a monster that has become a slave to humans. Kang mocks him and tells Cosmos that he ordered an enslaved person like him, and the only one who can fulfill that condition is a demon. Cosmos says he wants to buy this enslaved person. Cosmos is counting his money. On the other hand, Kang asks the enslaved person how she ended up becoming a slave. She responds that there was a man who was more precious to her than anything, but he doubted her love for him, and that's why she accepted to be his slave. Kang finds this story interesting. Meanwhile, God is upset with him. On the other hand, Cosmos finds it a sad story and cries. Both the demon lady and Kang are looking at him. Suddenly, the demon lady asks her master to get rid of this insect. Since he dares to look at her shamelessly, she feels like tearing his eyes out. After that, Kang tells the demon lady that they have to leave. She asks him if he's okay. Without a proper confirmation, he responds that he's fine since they already confirmed it from his status window. Her name is Dialoka, level 27. She has many blessings with 3 curses. Dialoka is a bit annoyed. She tells him not to take it the wrong way. It's because of the blessing of an enslaved person. Suddenly, she approaches him and tells him that she can order him to translate along with her. She tells him that the reason she obeys an inferior human is commendable. Instantly, Cosmos tells her that he won't simply forgive her if she tries to order him to do something weird. Dialoka tells Kang to give her an order to kill him. Kang tells her that he hasn't killed him yet. Kang thinks that he should buy other enslaved people. After a while, he buys many enslaved people because they are cheap. Dialoka says that they all have low levels. It's manual labor. After that, Kang creates the portal and tells his slaves to enter the portal one by one. Suddenly, Cosmos approaches him and tells him he wants to tell him something. He tells Kang that he has changed his mind, and that from now on he will accompany him. Suddenly, an arrow hits Cosmos' head, and he falls. Kang is shocked. Dialoka tells him that she wants to do it, but someone else seems to be in front of her. Han says that being attacked in broad daylight makes this world fascinating while someone is shooting arrows, causing everyone to panic. Kang finds it problematic as the guards also arrive. Dialoka asks Kang if she should kill them. He tells her he doesn't care because she's enslaved, but emphasizes that it must not be discovered that she is a demon. Suggests they escape the city. After a while, they are in the jungle. Kang pulls Cosmos aside and tells him to hold it together, reminding him that he can't afford to be weak. Cosmos admits he has never been so close to being killed and that he had let his guard down. Dialogues comment that this means he has been living defenseless all this time, only relying on his healing power, and calls him weak. Cosmos gets angry. Kang notices bloodstains nearby and suddenly sees Dialoka preparing to attack him. Kang grabs her hand, telling her she thinks he's straightforward, uses his nullification power, and cuts off her hand. Dialoka is surprised and asks if he's a level 1 player. Kang simply asks, and if he's not, adding that it seems she has been underestimating him. Just like Cosmos, she lunges at him to attack, calling him human. But Kang is ready. He tells her that now he will show her the absolute powers of his master. Jumps and hits her repeatedly. Dialoka smiles even after being hit, telling him it seems he let his guard down. She defends herself and hits Kang with all her strength. Kang knows it will hurt, but Dialoka apologizes, saying that a wound of this level is nothing for a demon. She also requests that Kang declare her freedom as her mandate, and then she will heal him immediately. Kang smiles, recovering quickly, and tells her that even his master wouldn't be weakened by such a wound. Dialoka gets upset and heals her hand. Realizing that they both have healing abilities, he tells her they should fight to the death and see what happens. Meanwhile, Cosmos watching tells her he knows Kang well and understands his fighting style, so he wants to help her. Suddenly, Kang throws a dagger at Cosmos, wounding him. Cosmos tells Kang that he claims to know him well, but didn't expect this, and warns that he will defeat him if he tries to betray him. Dialoka thinks that Cosmos is an evil man, and it's not easy dealing with someone like him. Suddenly, Kang jumps and hits Dialoka again, saying it's all to impress her. She halts her attack and tells him that she hates guys who can't be trusted. Kang responds that she is the one who betrayed his trust. He prepares to hit her again, but she responds that she is enslaved even though she never swore to become his slave. Both their powers collapse, and meanwhile, Dialoka realizes that her healing can't keep up with the injuries she suffered. During the fight, she is curious about how Kang remains so active. Kang smiles and tells her that's a pretty good excuse. Kang punches Dialoka again, causing an explosion, repeatedly telling her she can't defeat him, asserting that there's no chance she will win while hitting her. Notes that although she claims not to care about her body, she's proving to be more challenging than the orc before. Suddenly, wings appear on Dialoka's body, and Kang is surprised to see this. He prepares to strike her, believing he can take her down before she gets the chance to fly. However, Dialoka instantly jumps, and Kang is shocked to see her flying. He thinks that despite her ability to alternate between attacking and healing, she seems fatigued. Confident in his ability to defeat her, he activates his fairy and outsider blessings. He believes Dialoka isn't as great as she seems. Meanwhile, Dialoka decides to end the fight. with a final blow and descends to attack Kang. He's ready to finish the battle, but she strikes him on the head with a powerful hit, causing a big explosion. After some time, Kang regains consciousness and feels regret upon realizing he has lost to her. Kang is disheartened, and the god asks if he expected this loss. Kang tells him it was an irresistible force he couldn't counter, and Aloka then appears, asking if Kang is okay and suggesting he should get new clothes. Kang asks why he should get her new clothes, but as she intervenes, offering to get him clothes that fit better. Dialoka strikes Cosmos, reminding him it's the master's responsibility to provide food, clothing, and shelter to his slave. Kang watches as she pulls clothes from the portal. Dialoka wears the new dress and admits she lost, pointing out that she couldn't overcome Kang. She also expresses her concern about what would happen if her status as a slave were transferred to Cosmos. While she's fatigued, she approaches Kang, telling him that he intentionally let himself lose, which leaves her unsatisfied. Kang responds by telling her to acknowledge that she is lost and that she will obey him. Dialoka, concerted, recognizes that Kang, an inferior creature, is her owner, but warns that this is humiliation and shame, something she will carry for the rest of her life. Cosmos then warns Kang that he will kill him if he makes any absurd demands regarding Dialoka. Dialoka stops him, telling him that if he forgets, she won't care. Meanwhile, the god comments on how desperate and crazy Cosmos Island is. Dialoka then holds Kang's face, and he asks what she's trying to do. To his surprise, she hugs him, explaining that she's tired of him and will leave the rest of the work in his hands. She soon faints, leaving Kang perplexed. On the other side, Prince Alsus is talking with the Saint in the mansion. The Saint informs him that the orcs in the plains have been eradicated, and another lady mentions that the number of gnolls has drastically decreased in the forest, just like the orcs. This time, while holding a slime, the lady asks the Saint if she came to look for her about this matter, but the Saint replies that she is not here for that. Meanwhile, Celebres wonders how Kang is doing. The Saint listens while Celebres tells her that he wants to find the stolen items and the culprit. The Saint responds that she indeed wants that. Celebres informs her that she won't see the culprit. She places her hand on the slime and tells the Saint that she will try to request the cooperation of this friend. The Saint apologizes for the question and then asks if this friend has such ability. Celebres laughs and assures the Saint not to worry, affirming that Malin is his special slime. She explains that this friend is not Malin like the other slimes, but it is Malin. The Saint tells her that she can't understand anything she's saying. Celebres responds that she will understand when she sees Malin's power. Celebres asks the Saint where the clues are to find the culprit. The Saint answers that they are currently at the crime scene. She also instructs her to find the thief who entered her room. Sister is surprised to hear this after that. Sister tells Malin to reveal the intruder's identity. Malin smiles. The Saint asks Celebres what she is saying. Malin, thinking that she can't interpret it through the blessing of language, suddenly Celebres speaks and tells the Saint that according to Malin's explanation, the intruder has escaped using the sacred sword hanging on the wall. The Saint now realizes that this is the worst possible outcome since the warrior is the culprit. She looks worried. She tells Celebres that it seems she has already guessed the culprit and thanks her for the help. She asks if there is anything she can also help with. Celebres tells her that she plans to join a magic institute this time, and it would be great if the Saint could help her. At that moment, the Saint is surprised and tells her that it seems she is saying that she will take on the role of teacher at the Magic Institute. Celebres confirms that she is right. She explains that during the last incident, her level was lower than that of the soldiers, so she couldn't do anything. Then she tried to level up by hunting but realized it wasn't suitable for her. Due to her nature and her aversion to wars, despite living for thousands of years as a member of the fairy realm, she is only level 12. If she obtains the title of Master, she can gain experience without battles, making it the best option for her. The Saint tells her that she understands and will do her best. Meanwhile, in the city, Hanu seems happy. He says that despite the difference in their levels, he will completely destroy Choi Gangman the next time they meet. A certain god appreciates this. He feels happier as the god praises him. After that, a master merchant arrives with some things and tells Hangu that he has brought the items he ordered. Hangu is surprised to see the items. The master merchant tells him it's just a token of appreciation for someone who will save the world. Hangu replies that he still thinks it's too much for him. After that, he tells the master merchant that he wants to ask him something. He asks if there is a dungeon nearby that no one has conquered yet. The master merchant replies that there is no dungeon nearby. Hangu thinks they just haven't found one yet. It doesn't make sense for dungeons not to exist when warriors are growing. He suddenly notices that many people are gathering a little distance away from him. People are saying goodbye to someone. Hangu also goes there. He is suddenly surprised to see the person. She is Celebres. Hangu finds her incredibly beautiful. He knows nothing about her. Meanwhile, Celebres apologizes for causing a commotion. She says she hasn't come here to seek revenge, so they don't need to worry. At the same time, Hangu is curious to know why she is here. After that, the new mayor arrives. Celebus asks her if the basement is still the same. The mayor shows her the way to the basement. Meanwhile, Hambo watches them and thinks this must be the heroine's event. Suddenly, Celebus notices Han. Wu smiles and asks if she has something to say. She responds that she doesn't understand the purpose of asking those questions. After that, he suddenly asks if she is married. She responds that she had planned to marry but was stopped. Her knight also held her back. She is a bit annoyed and tells the mayor to leave. Hangu realizes he has had some incidents he can't explain. As the protagonist, he believes he should help her. After that, he goes somewhere and says there's no need to rush. Since there are many things he doesn't know about her, he should investigate at night in the temple. The prince. Alsa speaks with the heroes. He tells them that, as they already know, the warrior's objective is the subjugation of the demon king. To achieve that, they must first mobilize all methods and means. He tells them that this tournament is the same. After that, he shows the heroes the plan and tells them they left many orcs free in the area marked by red lines. The mission of this tournament is to hunt an orc and check the tag on its ankle. The heroes are curious about the task. Prince Alsus raises his hand and tells them that it doesn't matter what method they use. The winner is the one who brings back the most of these tags. He tells them that the grand prize of this tournament is the sacred sword of the warrior, which is one of a kind. Meanwhile, Choi is excited about winning this tournament to defeat Hanwoo. On the other hand, Hanwoo analyzes his status window in the city. He thinks it would have been nice if save points existed. He says he can't be admitted to the academy because he doesn't have a warrior position. He remembers the conversation with the knights earlier. One of the knights tells the other that they are assigned as escorts there. His companions tell him that warriors are being admitted to the magic academy. The knight tells his companions that even the elder fairy will work as a teacher. Hanwoo imagines his future where he gives a love letter to Celeblis. One day, she will come to him and tell him that he is not suitable for the teacher-student relationship. He will respond that he doesn't care about trivial things, and they will embrace. At this moment, Hanger decides that he can be a warrior again, and that he will also go to the Magic Academy. Everyone is surprised to see Hangu at the temple that night. The prince. Alice asks him why he is here. Hangu tells him that he will also participate in the tournament. Prince Alice tells him that a person who is not a warrior cannot experience it. He responds that he will be one again since his skill level should be enough. Choi Gangman gets angry seeing him there. Meanwhile, Prince Alice also notices him. After that, Prince Alice tells Han Wu that he heard the news that he had been considered equal to warrior Choi Gangman, but he can't help but suspect his personality. He also asks her if she has forgotten the incident with the fairy. Han Wu is surprised to hear that and tells him it was a misunderstanding. Since she really tried to help her, Prince Alice gets angry and asks how he can describe such a blatant lie. Suddenly, he notices that the saint is also there. Prince Alice feels curious about her since he doesn't know her intentions. Suddenly, he tells Hangu that he understands him and says he can enter the tournament on the condition that he returns the money he received for giving up the warrior position and that he acknowledges his return. Hangu responds that he has used everything for training, but he will pay it back soon, so he shouldn't worry. Prince Alice tells him it's too early to be happy. He says he wants to see how much he has grown after leaving the temple and will confirm it himself. The heroes are surprised to see this. Hangu tells Prince Alice that he will be surprised. He uses his magical blessing and throws a fireball at the Prince Alice, but he is hit by the prince and crashes against the temple wall. After that, the Prince Alice tells the heroes this is the last confirmation. Those participating in the tournament should raise their hands. He also tells them that for their information, there will be no protection for the warriors in the upcoming incidents. The heroes are surprised and a bit scared at the same time after hearing this. After that, some students raise their hands to participate in the tournament. Prince Alice tells them that those warriors who hesitate to participate in the tournament shouldn't regret it later and should give their answer now. Suddenly, the saint interrupts him and tells him that should be enough since they must respect the warriors' decisions. She tells the warriors that those who do not participate in the tournament should return to their dorms and pack. The warriors are surprised to hear that. They don't understand what she means. The saint tells them that they plan to sponsor the warriors with courage and determination, which is part of the selection. Suddenly, all the warriors raise their hands. The saint smiles and says a true warrior must have real courage. A warrior who only seeks gains is no different from a mercenary. Suddenly, one of the warriors says the winner has already been selected. He says it's not that they lack courage or determination. The saint replies that they don't need warriors who look at reality and avoid fights. After that, the saint tells them that those here have passed the first round of the tournament and wishes them God's blessings for the next round.